There, I'm gonna see it.
Oh.
I mean, fuck inconsistent. They're not consistently doing a manga every week. Gra. No. Oshinoko releases on Wednesdays.
Everything's on hold this week. My Hero didn't release, Oshinoko didn't release, One Piece
My Hero
probably
never
isn't
fucking
released.
releases.
Also true. Chainsaw Man was off this week.
Oh yeah, all of my Viz stuff didn't update. They all had April 23rd as last one.
Oh, we're unmuted. Neat. But yeah,
did this
nothing
already get the boot? Or is
What?
this just okay, no, I think this might just be an every 2-week thing.
You know, guys, since Sean isn't here and we have like 10 minutes to kill, who's caught up with Oshinoko and watched today's episode?
I haven't watched today's episode because I watched that with people and they are currently busy. They were busy right before this.
You've only watched the first one, Mason? That's true.
I am caught up with the manga though.
As you should be, because it's back to being peak, right?
Always.
I love the last chapter. Because it did that thing where it's like, this is going to be suspenseful, and went, no, this isn't the actual reason why it's suspenseful. Because Akka's a hack, but he's our hack.
True.
I am caught up on the manga and the anime. I watched a new episode today with my girlfriend. Good. So fucking pretty. That show's so pretty. I wish I could watch it in HD. Damn you, High Dive. But the manga's super pretty. Show super pretty. I'm in love with where the manga's going, and I like the pacing of the show so far. I think we were kind of right on point with what we were guessing, and that's probably going to end with the idol arc. I think that's just like a perfect stopping point. But I feel like the arcs of like Oshinoko you can just describe with the media that it talks about. You know, it's like the TV drama arc just finished. Now we're heading into the reality TV show arc.
Yeah, I'm back. Hi guys.
We're back.
I let my co-host talk for a little bit. But it is 11 p.m. and we need to get going.
Yeah, we do.
Hey everybody, welcome to the spring season 2023 of Anime Fray, Save or Slay, however way we say it, harsh language, and because I'm going to stress this for these shows, spoilers inbound. There are a couple of these
we should
shows
just not talk about spoilers
that are absolutely worth checking out. But as we talk about them, we are going to be spoiling probably mainly episode 3s of things. There is a show in particular I am talking about, really. Maybe 2, because we're going to be talking about some things with our first show, I think, that may or may not count spoilers. Unlike last season, or 2 seasons ago? My brain forgets. Was Chainsaw Man last season?
2 seasons.
2 seasons?
2 seasons ago.
Unlike last season, none of us have engaged with any of this content at a particularly large fashion. We're back to our usual. Some of our members here have engaged with some of the content. But we're gonna get right into it. I'm gonna do the quick.
I would say I've read a large amount of Mashle.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You two having read a good chunk of something is not particularly new for the podcast. 3 of us having read almost the entirety of something is kind of an issue.
Yeah.
But let's do a quick run through. Talking order this season will be Mason, Michael, me, John. Running through our shows that they're going to be in the order of that I just went off. So Mason, Michael, me, John. Hell's Paradise. Heavenly Delusion. Mashle, Magic and Muscles. Skip and Loafer. Dangers in My Heart. Blue Orchestra. My Home Hero. Insomniacs After School. The Marginal Service. My Clueless First Friend. Dead Mount Death Play. And My Love Story with Yamada-Kun at level 999, which we are just going to refer to as Yamada-Kun, probably.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, if you guys do not know what we do at Save or Slay, that's right, we watch anime. Arguably too much anime.
No way.
Arguably so much anime that it taints our
Definitely too much
palate.
anime.
We have watched 36 episodes of anime in preparation for tonight. That is
I don't want
because
to put in a number on it.
we let every show get 3 episodes, and so we're obviously some of these shows have more than 3 episodes out. If you dare talk about any of the episodes past episode 3 for any of these shows, you are getting removed. You're getting blown into orbit. You're out of here for good. We don't like you if you do that. But we watch all of them, and then we sit down. We'll run through our thoughts on them. We'll probably do as brief of a synopsis as we possibly can. Let's keep my idea is let's keep things very brief for the first 2 episodes, and then core points of the third, unless there is a show we kind of need to go a little more into. There's 1 or 2 I can think of where we might have to talk broadly. But we're going to try to limit summaries and more do discussion, or else we're going to be here for 5 hours. Every week we also...
10 hours.
Every week we also power rank the shows. That's right, we rank our shows 1 to 12. And then at the end of the episode, we're going to vote off a show. Only one show, the show with the most slays, because we're going to vote to save or slay a show, as the title of the podcast suggests. With that in mind, it is now time to reveal to my co-hosts what the power ranking looks
The
like.
best part.
Okay,
The best
so
part.
people watching who weren't following last season when we did picks and stuff, the reason we don't have Oshi no Ko in this list of 12 shows,
Yeah,
not because we didn't think it was going to be good.
We knew it
All
was
four
good.
of us, all 4 of us have read a substantial amount of it, definitely past where the anime is going to get, and it would have been a very boring discussion of just sitting there just not talking spoilers and just going, yeah, Oshinoko is really good this week.
Yeah, we ran into that
Anyway.
issue with Chainsaw Man. We realized we can't do that anymore.
It's just not interesting discussion. Oshinoko is very good. Go watch it.
Yeah, by the way, go
Yeah,
watch
wait.
Oshinoko. Don't look up anything about Oshinoko. Just go watch Oshinoko. Do us all a favor.
Go watch Oshinoko. It's very
and
good.
then come back here and then don't talk about it, but tell your friends to watch it because that is probably the best show of the year. I'm gonna come out and say it.
We'll see. I
As
think
someone who's
we'll,
watched
I think
40 episodes of anime in the last
I
3
think we'll
weeks
see.
because of it.
Let's, however, talk about this power ranking. You'll notice that on everybody's power ranking but Michael,
it's not bad.
there is a bolded show. If a show is bolded on someone's power ranking, it means that they are the only person to have it in that block of their power ranking. Since there's 12 shows, I get to segment this in a nice 4 shows a block. Eventually it'll be top 3, bottom 3, middle chunk. But for now, that's what this is. Hey, yeah, I know. There's a glaring thing on mine that's bolded. I'll talk about it. I don't think that's necessarily surprising.
I think that's just as wild as some of the things,
I think
the thing bolted on John and one of the things bolted on Mason.
I think
Okay, to be fair,
Yamada's fair. I could absolutely understand putting Yamada. Very good.
Legitimately, I probably should swap Skip and Loafer and Yamada. I did this when I was running off of like 2 hours of sleep and I had been awake for like 18 hours.
I think
that we've watched a lot of anime and you expect a lot more variance than what we had here this week. Like the fact that like me and Sean have 1 bolded and Mason's making up the slack with 4.
And your and Michael's top 4
average
is literally the exact same, John. It's just shuffled what's where.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you just have Mashle up there too. You and Mason.
I mean, there are a couple differences top 4 wise. Maybe I'm wrong. I think probably the most surprising thing is my number 2 being my number 2.
Yeah, I would agree.
No.
What do you mean that's John's number
agree.
1?
No,
I love that show.
Fair thing to put it up there.
We'll talk about these shows.
What's more wild is you having your 3 at 3.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I explained.
I guess it makes it also have it at 3, which I think is.
It's gonna be an interesting discussion.
I will give this explanation for my power ranking. My 1 and 2 are pretty much solid on that front of my feelings. My 3 and 4, I feel equally about, but there is one thing that puts my 4 below my 3, and I will talk about that. My 5 and 6 are about on par with each other, and then my 7, 8, 9, and 10 could all probably be shuffled. I think they're all about the same quality of show. And my 11, I think, is very close to being the same quality of show as those. But we'll get into that.
Do we all want to make one general statement about your rankings? Very broad statements about your thoughts on the season before we get into it?
Okay, can I do one more quick extra one?
Absolutely.
The difference between my number 1 and my number 12 is so astronomical, it cannot be displayed by this PR ranking.
No, I get that.
That is what I will say.
Look at me picking the full extremes of the podcast.
Let's just get a big clockwise going, Mason. Is that your one?
So my thing is, I understand I have a lot bolded. To be honest, my 1 and 2 and my 11 and 12 are set. Everything else in between is they can go kind of anywhere. I really like a lot of the shows this season.
I'm very much on the same board as Mason here. I was going to say something very similar. It's my top 2, I was all right, these 2 did something really interesting, or I really liked something that the show did. And then the next 7, 8, 9 shows, I was yeah, they're all upper mid-tier shows to me. Or I'm not complaining about watching another episode of really any of the shows this season, except for my 12, in which I was the only reason I'm putting this at 12 is because I think this is a show that's very similar. That's just not as
We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. To quote Michael, with his very frequent saying he's been throwing at us, the author's cleverly disguised fetish, but maybe not so cleverly disguised.
I think Michael's other phrase of
to be disguised fetish.
Michael's other phrase of man, you'll go 8 minutes of that show going, man, this is terrible, and then you have 5 consecutive minutes of man, this is the best show of the season. And then it goes right back to terrible, and there's no in between.
It will actually go from a fucking negative 12 out of 10 up to a solid 9.
We'll talk about it.
3 minutes, then drop right back down to a negative 12.
So Michael, what is your single-esque thought on your PR ranking?
Insomniacs is my number 1, and shit's gonna have to do a lot to break it out of that.
I don't blame you.
I think Insomniacs is one of the greatest anime I've ever fucking seen for a while. These 2 main characters are perfect. And this isn't Bocchi the Rock levels of amazing, but it's really fucking good. This shit is exactly my jam. It's exactly what I want out of a show.
I think it's
real good.
It is still wild to me that
It's
still wild to me that John was the one that picked that and not myself or Michael.
There were other
given Loafer's frames.
It does say something when someone gets to pick last of the first 4, but then first for the second batch.
I didn't pick first for the second batch. Oh no, you mean okay?
Yeah, because we snake back.
I meant the last 4, but I picked last both. I think.
Mason.
Yeah, I think you were just full last. Yeah.
Mason, let's get into Hell's Paradise. By Studio Mappa. 3 episodes.
Yeah.
The tags sum it up in a good way.
So this show is. If you have if you have an issue with gore, don't watch this show. The show is really good.
It's really
funny. And it's really cool. However, it's very gory.
By the way,
you do see. Oh,
sorry, a lot of our shows are like that this season. There's a lot of blood this season.
Yeah, there is.
There's a lot of murder kill in this season.
For reference, just for those of you that are on the fence, but you don't know if you can handle it or not, if you can watch a dude ripping another guy's throat out with his teeth, if you think you can handle that, then you can do this. Otherwise, maybe not. But yeah, this show.
You got through Chainsaw Man. This is fine.
Yeah, this is fine.
This is also
that's a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah, I mean, this is also made by one of the assistants to Fujimoto, who wrote Chainsaw Man.
Oh, you don't say. Episode 3 maybe does some things.
Yeah, maybe does some things.
Well, go ahead, Mason.
So basic plot of this. Our main boy is Gabimaru the Hollow. He's a ninja. He's the best ninja, and he's convicted. He's a convicted felon because he's killed a lot of people. The shogunate goes, "Hey, convicted criminals and murderers, You want a pardon? Go get the elixir of life on this creepy ass island that no one's ever come back from. Excuse me, we've had one guy come back from it, and he is growing a flower out of his face, and his eyeballs have roots in them. Have fun.
He'd be really happy about it.
That's about it.
All of
That's
you
what
get
the
an
show is.
executioner.
All of you get an executioner. They are the best executioners in the land. They will kill you in one shot if you fuck up, or if you try to kill them, or if anything happens that would be detrimental to this mission, you die. So good luck, have fun. Also, we need you to whittle your numbers down. Go kill each other for a second. Bye. That's essentially the plot of episodes 1 and 2. Episode 3 is them getting to the island where the elixir of immortality is supposed to be, and shit's fucked on this island. It's people call it paradise, but it is. There's a lot of like otherworldly flora and fauna here, such as the hands or the finger centipedes and the praying fish with arms.
And I want to say that you say
Fish
finger centipede, and I can assure our viewer, if they have not watched the episode, they are not going to guess where the fingers on the centipede are.
No.
You do not understand the finger centipede.
The finger centipede. Oh, also the
looks
hand
like-
eyeball deity.
With the long tongue.
It reminds me of like the CG. What was his name from Pirates of the Caribbean?
Davy Jones.
Davy Jones. This stuff.
So something to talk about with this show that I think is really cool is I'm fairly certain the monsters that are on this island are CG, and it is a very cool use of different animation style to make it feel unsettling. And it's one of those times where I'm like, no, this is a very good use of CG in a 2D show, because it makes you go, oh, I don't like that. I really don't like that.
I feel the same way about this show's monster design as I do the next show we're gonna talk about, and as I did JJK's curse design. They do a really, really phenomenal job capturing things that are uncanny and uncomfortable. I think just because of the nature of Chainsaw Man and how film-like it is, I don't have that problem as much with a lot of the stuff in Chainsaw Man. But it's probably also up there. Again, you can tell that this author worked with Fujimoto.
Yeah. Yeah, Hell's Paradise is very good.
It's very good.
It is very well animated. Gebimaru is an amazingly written character already. I love him immensely. He's so good.
He's just a good boy.
Can I
His
say my thing?
executioner is also pretty good.
Oh, yeah. Mason,
Yeah.
only thing I can imagine every time, this mainly started happening in episode 3, but every time Gabimaru says it, the only thing I can hear is the Borat, my wife! Just every time he says it, which may ruin some critically important, impactful scenes, but also is wonderful.
Probably. Yeah, Gabimaru's whole goal, if you did not know, is to get this pardon so he can just go live a quiet life with his wife. With his wife. He just doesn't want to kill people anymore. He just wants to have a nice life.
He's had his fill of it.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, our executioner wants to kill people without feeling immense trauma.
That sucks. That's gonna happen.
I was a little uncertain about how I felt that the thing we had to wrap up by episode 3 was the two of them getting on the same team. Like, being like, okay, we're done trying to kill each other. Because it felt like episode 1, they had that down pat. It really felt like episode 2, we kind of stepped back and she was like, but I need to kill him. It's like, do you? Was that the goal? It didn't. But when you consider her situation with the rest of the executioners, I think it makes a lot of sense that she falls back in that mindset, and then they have to work through it again. And I'm glad to get this out of the way now, than later down the road where they just decide, hey, what if we just try to kill each other for the hell of it? Get it all out of the way now. Make it very clear that the two of them, if they're going to get off this island alive, are going to need to work together, like we see at the end of episode 3 with our sword criminal and his Demon Slayer-esque partner, executioner, where they just kind of go, oh, this is a problem. Everything around us is trying to kill us, as opposed to some of our other characters who have made decisions.
I'm still they show several of what we think are our main characters just dead already. I'm not certain of at least 2 of them because there was not enough blood.
Yeah, there was absolutely no blood on our ninja, on our other ninja.
Yeah, on our
That
Kunoichi.
I do not think she's dead.
I don't think so either.
I'm trying to think if there's anyone else I have doubts about.
No, I was very much not expecting them to kill off the red-haired executioner that fucking quickly.
I can't imagine
Yeah.
he's not dead because he looks very dead. It would be
He's
He is
very-
literally
he got
being
eaten.
eaten.
He got
yeah.
eaten.
Yeah.
No, he's super dead.
I was
Interesting.
not expecting that.
Interesting dynamics. Or Bakugo looking boy or Bandit King seems like him and his executioner are getting along real well.
Yeah.
Because when he fights off the strange flexible priest monk who tries to strangle him, as if we thought that was actually gonna happen,
Right.
his executioner's just smiling. It's just like, yeah, let's do this. Interesting. There are a couple of fake outs that don't quite work because certain executioners look far too important to die.
Mhm.
I love this show's action. Episode 2, absolute highlight of that. I was a little peeved that we didn't get the full fight in episode 3, the first full fight. But it also, he says it himself, not worth his time. So it's not worth our time to see. We have much more important things to talk about. And you know what? I'll give the show that. They very much choose what to show you combat-wise and what not to, and what they do show you looks real good. I am absolutely down and on board for this show, and it sits at my number 1 spot because I think it looks incredible, and it is the show I feel most safe. Right now, it is, I think, the safest peak product we have on this show right now, in my opinion.
One other thing for me is our main boy's introduction is such a wonderful introduction to our character because it tells you pretty much everything you need to know about him in like 10 minutes. He cannot die. He's just a good, wholesome family man, and he wants to leave.
Well, he
He
can
wants
die.
to just be a good, wholesome family man.
He can die.
He wants to be a family man. However,
Mhm.
he also needs
There
to
are-
murder to be a family man.
There are a couple of obstacles in the way, yeah.
Yeah.
There's also this interesting, like, double plot line here that the chief of his village probably got the elixir at some point, so is it even on this
Yeah.
island? And also, they're coming to the island? We have lots
Yeah.
going on.
So we did hear one of the characters mentioned that like supposedly this journey is also going to determine the next chief of his clan, and that's why they're sending more people to the island, which
Yeah.
essentially means he might be ready to die or like ascend or something, and so they're trying to prepare the elixir of life for their next leader.
No, it's
essentially.
it's 2
Um,
different clans. 2 different clans.
I thought it was
The
his clan.
Oh,
So
I
it
thought
is
it was
his
both.
clan, but the executioners are the ones
The
that are
executioners
going to
on
be
the
determining.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, by the way,
Um,
these executioners, biggest Bleach vibes I've ever felt. Literally
Yeah.
just I can't think of the term for the Soul Society.
The Gote
The
13.
Gote 13. Literally just the Gote 13.
I mean, to be fair, I see their outfits and I go sort out online.
Fair, also fair.
Yeah, fair.
But yeah, I mean, I like the action of the show. I think it's good. The gore is a bit much for me personally. It's just not my type of like enjoyment. But I
Yes.
can't deny that it's well done and it's a good show. I mean, that's weird coming from a guy who literally works in nursing and sees stuff like this in real life to a degree. But that doesn't bother me. But yeah, it just feels a bit much at times. But I mean, that's what you expect from a show from the staff, basically, to a degree. You expect your big bloody shots, your like huge Sekiro finishers, I guess you could say.
I'm impressed this is a shonen.
It's very satisfying.
It shouldn't be a shonen. It should be a
It kind of
seinen.
threads that line, yeah.
It's a shonen.
It's like a seinen. It feels like it's a seinen that
It's
has
like
shonen influence.
it's like
more
you know
than
how like the
shonen has
tags
seinen influence.
you know how you see tags and some of them are like italicized because they're like minor tags. I think that's where shonen is in this show.
Yeah,
It's like,
and
you
the
could
gore
call
is
it a shonen.
the gore is bolded.
Yeah.
All I know is that if Fire Punch is a shonen,
You know what?
this
Fair.
absolutely
Yeah, okay.
All I know
You
is
know
I'm
what,
surprised
fair.
this isn't a show that pops up content warning at the start of it.
But we might get there at some point.
I think we probably will.
What was
I mean,
the show
to be
that had
fair,
that?
that was Skeleton Knight.
That's
God. Well, I mean, considering what it opens with, yeah.
Yeah.
I understand why.
It doesn't give
that
you a
was
lot of time to compress that warning in what it opens with.
No, it gives you a second and a half, and then suddenly it's just
You're like,
in there.
you're like, huh? That was a weird war. Oh,
Oh.
Last thing I'll say, the backgrounds for the island are phenomenal. I can't imagine the amount of work that's going into this show. And my hope would be that it is Mappa's prime focus, and it's gonna look good the whole way through with no issues. It feels like too big of a name brand for that not to be the case, though, because
it's
this
too big to fail.
this manga
I mean,
got really popular once Chainsaw Man hit.
It was the most popular manga of 2022, I believe. It was like it was the top rookie manga.
Mm-hmm. Do we have anything else we want to say about Hell's Paradise besides the fact that its opening slaps?
All of the openings for this season slap.
I have a
Low-key,
couple that I'm a
best
little
song
eh
this
on.
season might be an Edie though.
Yeah, there's only
in
a
my
few that are
opinion.
like super like stick out to me, but I don't remember any of them being bad. They're all
Sure.
like good songs.
All a good time.
Do we want to press on?
Yes.
A show we're probably gonna have a lot to talk about. Michael, talk to us about Heavenly Delusion.
Yeah, so
By
I managed
Production
to pick
IG.
I managed to pick the almost sunny boy of this season. The shit that makes us
That's
talk.
the vibes I was getting.
So Heavenly Delusion is a story. It takes place in a post-apocalyptic future ?
It is.
Version.
We get confirmation on that in episode 3.
It's
I like
20.
future question mark.
It would be 2039
20.
now.
It's 2044.
Okay.
But yeah, we're post-apocalyptic, near future, where humanity it went to shit. We don't know exactly why. We have an idea that maybe it was the man-eaters, but we don't know. But humanity's fucked. And also there is a place maybe that still exists. We don't know because things can be fucky wucky timey wimey. You have a bunch of kids in a orphanage type thing where they are locked in a compound.
A
where they
very
cannot go
Darling in the
beyond
Franxx
walls.
orphanage.
Yeah,
Minus
they have,
the
like,
mechs.
But they have like this like pretty futuristic tech stuff, like farther than you would expect from this kind of near future. Where they're like they're just stuck, and they have like 20 of them or whatever, and they learn shit. And also they fuck or something. I don't know. There's some weird shit happening.
There's some nudes being sent and like
yeah, shit's kind of whack. But we randomly just get clips of like these kids here and them talking about the outside world, and also one of them draws.
They're also like maybe
and
mutants.
one of them died but didn't die. Shit's whack. And essentially, we follow two people who are traveling in this barren, fucked up wasteland that is Japan. In the story, and it is a girl and a guy. The girl is a courier type person who brings people to places. And the guy wants to get to a place he just knows as heaven. What is heaven? We don't fucking know.
He's
at
also
all.
looking for
We think
somebody with his face.
Yeah, we think heaven might be the place we see the kids at. It might not be. He may come from there. We don't know. Why is there a fish with hands?
why do we have that
Again.
2 shows in a row?
Hey, there's potentially one of the big reasons people can't be out at night and whatever, or people can't really be out at all because it's unsafe.
Yeah.
There are these beings known as man-eaters, which are monsters of some type that can go invisible sometimes and also eat people. And when they eat people, they can like take on the forms of them and get some of their memories. We don't really know. One of them looks like a tardigrade, and I loved him. He's a little adorable little guy. He also ate an important character, but like that's whatever. He's a little guy.
How much do
I
we
won't
want
get
to...
into any of the other spoiler
I was gonna
stuff,
say, how
because-
much do we want to talk about? I think the important thing to highlight is our male main character, Ko.
Maru.
He's Maru.
He's Maru. Our main male
Yeah.
character, Maru, is looking for heaven, as well as the person who has the same face as him. This is what
He's
we know.
supposed to inject them with something.
Yes, which
I
they are
guess.
carrying.
Some juice.
And then our female character, what's the name they're going by?
Kiruko.
Kiriko. Very
So
important that
it's-
we call them by that.
Yeah.
To let people enjoy episode 3 unless we decide we want to talk about it. There are a lot. I'm gonna say there are parts of this I do want to talk about because I called it in some parts of it. Again,
Sean
I hit some,
two-
I missed some.
Sean had 3 batshit insane takes that 2 of which were
Right.
correct.
First one was there is a scene. We'll talk about this. There's a scene in because this is episode 2 stuff. We can talk about it this way. Episode 2, or no, or is it the end? It's either the end of 1 and then episode 2.
The stinger of 1 is seeing the man-eater.
Yeah. So in episode 1, there's a scene where our main character, she is looking in the mirror of an onsen at her body, and it's depicted in a way where there's very odd pause. And Michael, Mason, and I were all watching it, and my response was, "That's weird. You think there's someone else in that body? Like that's not their body." End of episode 2. Stinger is the reveal of that. The one that I was very wrong on was who that other person in the body was going to be. If I'm right about what the third thing is, oh no, you're talking about the first man-eater,
Yeah.
being a character, in quotations, because honestly, I'm not sure that's true. But she certainly,
I'm not either anymore.
but that innkeeper certainly thought they were a character.
Yeah.
What I argue, Mason, is I have another one too that I got right, which is when they show us those photos, because she is looking for 2 people. She is looking for a guy who looks like Spike Spiegel, and
Robin,
and a dude who they call Doc. One of the things I said about those photos was that there are very clearly people folded out of frame. Because she's asking about the 2 individuals in general, and I said those people out of frame are probably also really important. They're just not going to show it to us yet. And episode 3 answers that.
Yeah, I forgot you made that prediction.
But Mason,
that one I was like, no, you're probably right on that one.
you know, that one was fair.
yeah,
A lot of these things, like when you say them, are like super like I can kind of get where you're coming.
it's just
from.
whether you're tying it in the moment or just letting the entire show wash over you. Mason, you said something that's worth talking about from episode 3. The kid in the weird plantation who draws a fish with hands. In episode 3, one of the man-eaters is a fish with hands.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think
Yep,
we're gonna
yeah,
get the
I
Death
do.
Stranding baby later? Because he's drawing the Death Stranding baby at the end of episode 3. Which, by the way,
Oh,
Also
what do you
said-
mean? Babies
also-
don't have faces.
Yeah,
Want me
that's
to
not
tell
a
you?
baby. That's not a baby. Come on.
yeah, babies
John,
don't have
John
faces.
hadn't watched
I-
the post
I
credits
missed that
originally. He watched
stinger
it when I was
somehow.
watching it.
I'm so glad I watched it with Michael.
Yeah. There's a
I-
lot of after credits things.
I
in
also
this
very
season.
much said that too. Where I was like, "Huh, that looks a lot like the beast that we saw."
So the question
no.
is he drawing them and they become real? Or is he drawing them because he knows of them? What is it? We don't know. It could be any of it. Production IG does an interesting... this art style's nice. I like it. It's unique. It's very its own. You guys were really... You, Mason in particular, were really in on the fight scene in episode 1. I think it's fine. It didn't blow my socks off.
But it wasn't like Hell's Paradise, like crazy.
No.
It was
To me,
like
yeah.
a really well done.
It's a
fight
really
scene.
well
The
directed
tracking
fight
shot's
scene.
insane. The tracking
like,
shot
the
in
big-
that fight's insane.
The big rotoscope shot. It was really good.
There's a lot of I guess again, gore and body horror in a weird way in this show as well.
Yeah, there's a good amount of body horror in this show.
Hey, there's a thing that happens in episode 3. And all I'm gonna say is, and this makes sense to Michael and Mason, I'm so glad I was able to tune in what was happening when the character's hand touches the wall, because it's very apparent because of the fingernails, a detail about them, and my brain can recognize this because of Danganronpa. Thank you, Nakito Komeda.
Oh my god. Sean, I hate you.
Danganronpa's everywhere. What do you guys have to, there's a race car scene in episode 3 that's really dope because she fucking kicks up gravel into a dude's face and causes him to crash into a billboard, and that's
Sick.
rad.
I was
This
not
show's
expecting
really cool.
Kart racers in this fucking
I wasn't
show.
expecting Mario Kart.
Mario Kart.
My biggest hesitation on why this is below Mashle for me is that I'm still very uncertain of this show. I don't feel like it's necessarily earned anything that's made me feel like this is going to be a safe show, that its quality is going to stay up. Whereas like Mashle and Skippin' Loafer and Hell's Paradise, I really enjoy all 4 of those shows, and the other 3 feel very safe to me, where I'm like, yes, the quality of this is what I'm gonna get probably the whole way through. This one, I have no fucking... Right now, I would rather place my bets on Mashle than on it in terms of quality, but they feel around the same level to me personally.
I'll agree on that point. Like, I think it's like, this is definitely one of those shows that's like, it's like the Sunny Boy where you're like, I don't know where this is going or what the fuck's going to happen. And I'm on for the ride as long as it stays interesting. And so far I think it's really done a good job.
It certainly seems to
be
like, staying interesting.
Mm-hmm. And like, this is the first.
It's also played a lot of its cards.
It's also it's done a lot with setting, and it's done a lot with backstory and like world, and it hasn't given us as much with our characters in the present time that makes me really attached to either of them. Is what I'll say. Probably the biggest drawback.
See, but here's what I got though, is like, from what we got though, and this is the first show of like a lot of shows this season, I think our like main 2 character dynamic here is absolutely outstanding. And this goes for a lot of the like main 2, specifically in all the rom-coms. I think the main 2 characters have been great pairs in all the shows. And like, this is the first one we'll talk about here, where like, I think those 2 play off each other very well. I'm not sure exactly what their deals are, like obviously how they came to work together. We know the gist of their goals, but we don't know like what got them here. We're starting to get bits and pieces of their past, but we don't know like the nitty gritty of like how these 2 somehow went to the same mission.
We have a character who I think we've gotten the name of, but we don't know the role they play outside of giving the injection gun and saying, hey, you need to shoot this into the person with the same face as you, who also died from a skin rash that one of the kids in the sanctuary has.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even notice that one of the sanctuary had.
Yeah, it's like a one scene detail in episode 1 that they later tie it to that like could completely skip your mind.
So good. I like that they're doing that though. I like the little like this feels a lot more like a puzzle that you can solve though, compared to like where Sunny Boy was just like, I don't know what the puzzle is. The puzzle just went from like a fucking like children's puzzle to fucking 5D chess in an episode. Whereas this one is like you can see like the foreshadowing and like the what feels like a pull from past to present, and you're like, how do these characters interact with this heaven or this version of heaven that like is existing in this Darling in the Franxx fucking area.
I just want to know how she got a laser gun.
She got it from her mentor, because she got it from the mentor.
Yeah, but like,
but did she? Did she?
That was her gun, and she gave it. She's like, "Here's my gun. Use this to go find that guy."
Right. Sorry.
Yeah.
Lots of mentors. I was gonna say there are a lot of. By the way, Doctor, very sus, very much AOT dad energy. Or you don't think the Doctor
did a brain
sus?
transplant?
Well, yeah.
Yes, I think he's uber sus.
Guys, do you like Get Out?
This screenshot, by the way, that I'm using for the podcast, the white screen with the single line with blood, phenomenal shot. That shot's incredible.
It's a good shot.
Ooh. Hey guys, we're only 2 episodes into our 12.
2 shows in.
You guys have other thoughts? I talked a lot.
No, okay. I mean, the show's cool. I'm very excited for it. I'm with you where it's like I'm uncertain of it because it could pull some really dumb bullshit later on, and I'll hate it.
Yeah, that is absolutely fair. I'm just currently still very interested in what it's doing.
Yeah, I'm very on board. I'm
on board, and I'm like optimistic, but I know with shows like this where it's like kind of weirdly experimental kind of thing, they can do some weird shit sometimes.
As someone who's
like not Beyond the Boundary, that one show where there's fucking Scooby-Doo in another dimension.
Oh, Other Side Picnic?
Other Side Picnic. I was going to say, as someone who's been on this podcast since its beginning, and Michael can attest to this too for what I'm about to say, we used to have a lot more of this style of show because they popped up a lot when we first started. Michael and I talk about Pet a lot. Babylon had very similar things to a degree as this. It Invaded, you can be thrown into, in my opinion, into this kind of idea of you're being given something that you're not used to working with, and you have to really see whether it clicks or not. Other Side Picnic being one that falls in. Wonder Egg. Lots of these things that can go one way or the other. I have made it very clear my thoughts on Babylon. I do not like it. It's one of my lowest rated shows I've watched.
It's crazy that Babylon up through episode 7 was one of the greatest things we ever had on the podcast.
And then just the end
we
of
all
it
loved
killed
it
it.
up to that point.
And then I'm the only one who finished
episodes.
it. Do you have
just
any
stopped
thoughts
losing
of,
episodes for like a month.
Any thoughts of Heavy Delusion, Michael?
He's good. I enjoy it.
Okay.
It's something
Cool.
I certainly am interested in what it's doing. But there's certainly is going to be some whack shit happening.
Speaking of whack shit, is it Harry
Guys.
Potter time?
No. We see, the beautiful thing is that we have Mashle and we're consuming Mashle. We never have to talk about it again. We can just ignore that other piece of media. This can be everybody's new one. Just everybody gets Mashle.
Legitimately, yes.
So like,
Because it's just kind of better.
so it obviously, riffing on the Harry Potter series a lot. If the character
I
of
think
Mashle,
Harry Potter was such a good fucking bit there.
Yes.
Harry Potter is amazing.
Mashle is about a character who is born without the ability to use magic in a world where everybody can use magic. He is picked up by an old man who is down on life because his magic fucking sucks. Is one of 3 or 4 of our shows where a character is about to jump off a building.
Yeah.
I don't know what this season is.
Yeah.
But Mashle is raised in the woods, not knowing really anything about magic besides what his grandfather can do, and thus he becomes the swollest man known to Earth. He pumps iron like nobody else can. He has a diet that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson would be jealous of because the man just eats cream puffs every day in and out. And he gets strong-armed into going to the Eastern Magic Academy. And to become the Divine Visionary, which is the best sorcerer of
The
year.
Heavenly whatever is the one from Spy Family.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep.
And so the idea is that he gets strong-armed into this because a member of the Magic Bureau finds out that he can't do magic because he doesn't have a mark. And then after he gets his shit kicked in by Mash, our main character, he's then like, okay, we can stop, bullying your grandfather and threatening your life if you just, do this impossible thing. It'll be fun. And Mash goes, yeah, sure, whatever, because the man doesn't have any common sense, but he's a good boy and we love him.
I mean, to be fair, it was not just a thing for fun. It was to end racism.
It legitimately was.
Yeah.
End stereotypes about magic.
Episodes 2 and 3 are Mash going through the school. It is people around him realizing there is something drastically wrong with this man who just bullshits his way through every single test or exam given to him and every part of class where it's like, open this lock with magic, and he goes, bop. Or where they need him to ride a broom and he chucks it and then jumps onto it. It's so fast that everyone thinks he just fucking rides it very fast.
And he broke a world record.
Yep, which only comes back to bite him when he goes to play fucking Quidditch. Which is just, what is it called? Dulo?
Are we in the middle of that game? And that's
yes, but at the start of it, he has not moved.
He's gonna do some fucking bullshit and be like the MVP.
I love that he intimidates magical letters to going into the right spot for him.
Mm-hmm.
He also beats up the school's He also beats up the school's Malfoy, as well as the vice principal. To which, God, that scene is so raw, where he just is burying the man alive. And he gets the consent from Dumbledore, who I totally see living through the entirety of this show. Surely nothing bad will happen to him, just like the real Dumbledore.
This one's totally not causing problems against the High Wizard Council.
Definitely, yeah. There are no parallels whatsoever. They definitely both don't burn pieces of paper in strange fashions. But he's kind of like, you know what, Mash? You got a good heart. We need kids like you. Become the Divine Visionary.
So the thing about this Dumbledore though is that fucking Harry Potter's Dumbledore didn't have a goddamn soul rip out voodoo machine magic.
He might have.
He didn't have like the hidden sealing jutsu technique.
Yeah.
Grim Reaper.
So MASH is very clearly a parody show. It's very clearly has a lot of gag, but you can really feel the themes and motifs of a battle shonen that are going to hit you with its themes and motifs real fucking hard once it gets to that point, and I am down for it. Its OST is rap. This rocks.
My favorite thing ever is when the OST will start playing. You hear like a song kicking. You're like, okay, some shit's gonna happen. And then Mash like thinks for a second, and then it stops.
And it cuts it. It's so good.
I'm like, hey, Mash is good. Also, Mash Burn Dead, absolute phenomenal character. He's like my favorite part of this entire thing.
He's such a
he
good
is
boy.
So good. He's such a perfectly consistently written good idiot. That he's like Luffy. He just protect friend and family.
Here's
families whoever he chooses they are.
My one downside of the show though is also that aspect to a degree, because it's like I get stupid funny. There's definitely stupid funny in this show. Sometimes he's too stupid and not funny enough to make up for it for me. And that's why it's not top 4 for me. It's just because like sometimes the show gets a little bit too stupid with its like gimmicks and its gags, which is fine.
It's absolutely fair to not be a big fan of this style of comedy.
When it's a comedy, some of them are gonna hit, some of them are not, especially in the gag manga. And sometimes you get a couple in a row that you're just like, man, that it's gotta do something. And then he does some stupid shit that's like, okay, I'm back in.
So I rated this a little bit higher just because, for one, I know what's coming, and for two, I know the 2 characters that we haven't gotten yet. And they're some of the best part of they're some of the best part of this manga.
His main squad is very good. They're all very good characters.
Yes, they're all very well written.
I am giving legroom for this female character. I am hoping she has a little more to her than what we've gotten, and that she will go in different directions, because I have I am not the biggest fan of some portrays of Amy Rose for a particular reason. She could very easily fall into the Amy Rose category. A very particular set of Amy Rose characterizations that's happened over the years. Not necessarily how Amy's always been written, and how the way Amy is in the Sonic is Dead murder mystery game. Perfect, wonderful, much better character.
I do need to watch or play.
You should watch Snapkeep play it. It's wonderful. That's besides the point. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to say about Mashle on my end. I like it. I think I'm down. I think it's really cool. I enjoyed the character. I talked about this briefly. Main protagonist showing restraint because they know they don't have to do something to such a large degree is one of my favorite things. The lead up to the Bellamy fight in One Piece, the first Bellamy fight, was beautiful for that reason. Luffy and Zoro did not have to do anything until things were pushed too far, and that's exactly how Mash is in our 3rd episode, where he is totally fine going along with this asshat and the things he wants him to do, because hey, if it gets him to help his family, he'll do it. But as soon as he sees that his bro is being blackmailed and set up, and also being physically abused, he's not taking any of that shit, and I love that. It's so good.
Okay, real quick side tangent since you mentioned it. Bellamy Luffy is still one of my favorite fights in all of One Piece. It's like top 5
that
in
panel
all
rocks.
of the show, because that fight is one of the shortest fights and possibly the greatest fight in all of One Piece in terms of everything. But back on Mashle, yeah, I agree. It's funny. It's a good time. Mash by far is Omega carrying the show right now. I don't think there's any question about that. But that's kind of the goal of a gag manga, is you need your gag character to be really, really good. I think Mash is really good at being what he's supposed to.
Walks on 2 legs in the morning, 3 in the afternoon. 4 in the morning, 2 in the afternoon, and 3 in the evening. That doesn't make any fucking sense.
Bam!
Get the fuck out of here!
Get the fuck out of here! I also like the apology where he's like, "What?"
I'm a burden. Emotional. No, you're not. Physical.
Some of the gags in the show are really good.
The coins got me. The coins and the doors
what was the
have
coins
set
again?
me.
You gotta remind me of the coins.
He goes to buy the cream puffs, and he hands out the coins, and he's physically tightened them into small degrees, and he just single-handedly shrink.
He just fixes them.
Where he keeps ripping doors off because he can't control himself.
Man, if I
He
could,
doesn't
I
remember
would.
if they're push or
But
pull.
it's a fair problem.
And he's somehow always wrong, and then does it so hard that it breaks.
I always love a good door that like gets ripped off the hinges and they just gets put back on as if it wasn't just ripped off the hinges.
Yep.
That's
Perfect.
my favorite.
Oh, the one thing I want to say is a very small. It seems very prevalent in the first 2 episodes, and it wasn't as much in the third, which I think is fine. But something that I really do feel like Mashle is critiquing from like the idea of a magical society is why do you need to do common ordinary things with magic? Just do it. Just like that's one of Mash's big gags is that he's just like, why didn't you just take us to an already prepped classroom? It's so much easier, bro. Why are they making the ice cream with magic? You could just do
I like
it.
How he intimidates the words to answer for him. He's like, "You're gonna fucking organize yourselves." And the words are like, "Yes, sir. Of course."
It's just a nice and refreshing, like, hey, this is something we do have to say. You shouldn't always rely on something to the point where commonplace things would be difficult if you didn't have it. It's a really nice scene where, is her name Lemon?
Yeah, I think her name's Lemon.
Her name's Lemon.
Where her wand gets knocked out of her hand, and then she has a nervous breakdown because she doesn't know what the fuck to do when she doesn't have the ability to use magic at her disposal. She just freezes. She can't even think. It's neat. I really like it. Mashle.
Mashle good.
Mashle good.
Let's talk about Skip to Loafer, John.
All right, Skip and Loafer.
Or Skip to Loafer.
We follow around our main character.
It's 2 because that's the Japanese word for and.
Guys,
I know.
I'm gonna do something smart this season. I'm gonna do something really smart. I'm gonna pull up the character list on AnyList so I can actually say names for once.
I'm proud.
No, we got our main character Skip.
And the guy Loafer. He wears the loafers.
We have Skip and Golden Retriever Boy.
We have Puppy.
So Mitsumi's our main girl. She's from a country town, but she's going to the big city because she wants to be like a city council woman. In order to do that, she's got to go to a good school. So she got a big scholarship. And she's going there and she's going to live with like her aunt while she's there in Tokyo, and it's going to be great. And it's like, I got this, guys. Don't worry. I'm going to be fine. Day 1, late to class, gets fucking lost in the train, is like absolutely distraught. And then runs into our main boy, Shima Sosuke, who is like, hey, you're wearing this uniform. Or he's on the phone with his friend and goes, hey, I think this girl's stuck to the wall. But then she's like, oh, the school's right this way, and then takes off running because she's got to get there faster. She can't be any later than she already is. And so he's kind of like, this girl's kind of neat. I'm gonna run with her, actually. You know what? So Mitsumi gets there in time, and it turns out she's the class representative. So she has to give a speech because he was the highest score on the entrance exam. Because while she is a ditz, she's really good at studying. And then she gets up there and goes to take her speech in front of the principal and goes, well, don't have it. Shit. And then proceeds to recite it perfectly because she's practiced it 300 times at home beforehand. Everyone goes, wow, that was amazing. She did a great job. She did without a speech. Fantastic. And she's like, wow, that was pretty good. Uh-oh. Nausea. And starts running, and the homeroom teacher tries to catch her and is like, hey, what's wrong? And as she does that, rainbow. And then it highlights the dress and everything and how much it costs. But essentially, our Skip and our Loafer, Mitsumi and Sosuke, kind of get along well. As Mitsumi is the classic, I'm from country and don't understand how people work because I knew all 8 people in my graduating class. And so gets a little bit taken advantage of by Mika, who reminds me a lot of the red-haired character from Toradora, whose name always escapes me. I think her name's like Mai or something. But where it's kind of like that bitchy character who's just trying to use the main character to get to the hot guy. And then you have the base friend character who is Murashige, I think is what it is, the blonde character.
Mm-hmm.
Who's just there to basically help Mitsumi understand how people work. They go to karaoke. Mitsumi starts to kind of realize what's going on here. And then let's see what else happens. I forget. Let's see.
There's a lot in these 3 episodes.
There's a lot that happens. And then afterwards they're like, okay, let's go to the student council room and like try to like get in on the student council, which they notoriously fail at. But they also run into a new girl who's like a nerdy girl. And so after they go out to karaoke, you have the hot blonde girl who's just kind of like actually super chill. And the nerdy girl have a nice conversation where like, hey, I just want to be your friend. I know this isn't for you. I know this is not a comfortable situation to get invited out like this, but I'm not here to like make fun of you or anything. I'm just here to be to understand your situation. And if I'm making you uncomfortable, that's fine. And they have a nice exchange where she's like, "No, it's cool. I gotta learn to get out of my shell." And so they go to the movies after karaoke and stuff, and kind of split for the day. But all of our characters slowly kind of making this big old friend group, and it's very wholesome. It's a very good time. Um, I am enjoying the heck out of the show. So that's my number one. Like I just think like again, mainly like our main boy and our main girl are just fucking amazing chemistry with one another because he is just good boy doggo, um, which they literally make a comparison to in the show. Um, and I just think the whole cast kind of really has sunk well together in only 3 episodes, basically, where you have like your
Mhm.
main group. Also, Makoto, this is the nerdy girl with the braids, and Murashige definitely give me the lesbian vibes, and I'm shipping. I
Mhm.
shipped that
Yeah,
minute
it's great.
one. I saw those two interact exactly for one time, and I went to Mesa and went, I've seen them interact exactly
no, it
one
was me
time.
and
No,
you
that
were
was my
watching it.
call.
Oh, that was Michael. Yeah.
Literally, they interacted once, and he was like, "Yeah, I ship it." They interacted a second time. I was like, "No, I ship it now." Understandable.
You're
Yep.
like, no, I get it. I'm like, yep, here
So,
we go.
I-
And in the art, she's holding her arm, and I'm like, I got you, show.
So
But
here's something I want
character's
to talk
great.
about. This is number 2 for me for a very particular reason. On top of just generally enjoying the cast a lot, this show has a couple of moments within its first 3 episodes that to me are very clear highlights that it's going to do shit that's going to hurt me. In episode 2,
The wall slam at the end of 2.
yeah, but there's a couple of things in episode 2. Mitsumi's aunt.
Right about his like
Mitsumi's aunt is trans.
Yeah.
Or identifies as a woman is the important thing. And the way they bring attention to that, and the way that Mitsumi just has no issue with it, is so wonderful, absolutely perfect. But the way they frame that shot of the whispers on the train, is done in a way that reminds me very much of the critical, tense moments in Blue Period, that set off alarms
with,
for
Ryuji.
Yeah, that set off alarm. Well, just in general, like the way those scenes are, like any of those critical scenes throughout the entirety of the show are framed. It has that same feeling where it's like, oh, you're going to hurt me, and you can. Like, you have the ability to switch at the dime. Also, the entirety of the drama club stuff. Both the performance, seeing the performance and having Mitsumi narrator and basically say, a lot of this went over my head, but what I can see is how hard individuals work to carry a product as it's being done because they have to, and it's what they love. Only to have that greeted by Sosuke very clearly have something about child acting he does not want to get into, and this huge wall come up that makes you go, oh, you poor boy. Oh, you're going to make bad decisions later.
Good.
It's very good. I love him so much.
I do think when we first saw him in episode 1, I said, oh, he's a dog. And the show knows. The show knows.
He's a fluffy-haired golden retriever gamer boy.
Give him pets.
That's all he is.
There's also just an element of the, under the surface, ill intentions that bounce between Mika and the rest of the girls. That again, like, this show is going to do things that are going to be knives. And I'm very excited for it, and I'm in love with everything I got, which I was hesitant about the show because I was worried it was just going to be very bland. To take a country character like this, the phone call scene, also the phone call at the karaoke, also a wonderful scene. With the best friend, at the karaoke, it's the best friend,
that one too.
where she's just like, "Oh, how'd you know? Oh, I can tell you're lying. I know you too well.
I know."
Just everything about that scene, having that character, who she can call back to at any point in time to like reflect is great. And the last thing I'll say is the silent communication that her and Shima do is so wonderful.
It's so good.
With the popcorn.
Just all of it, every time they've done it. That's
Like
that's my thoughts.
Part 2 of main two character lead chemistry is just fucking 10 out of 10.
Yeah, they are so
yeah.
good. They are perfect. Shima's great. She's a fucking goof. God, them dancing in the opening is one of my
It's
favorite
so
parts
Oh
of
my
any of
God,
the openings
so
this
cute.
entire season.
Same.
It's very dorky, it's very nerdy, and you're just like, yeah, that's how it should be.
He supports her when she fall, because he vibing.
Mhm.
Also,
He
he's
got his whole life
hot.
figured out. He's just gonna vibe.
Does
Did we
he?
mention he's hot?
That's at least what he presents to people. That he has his whole life figured out. He just sits there and vibes.
I mean, he probably has his whole life figured out from he'll never have to worry about, like, about something bad happening and not having the support needed to bounce back from it, but I don't think he knows what he's doing. Is my argument.
Vibe.
I don't think he's a
Yeah.
person who knows where or what he wants to do.
Vibe.
They're adorable, though.
He's vibing. He's simping big hard over this girl. And I'm mad respect it because you know what? Fair enough.
Sup, gang? I gotta leave early from our hangout. Look, you never leave early to go to school. Don't worry about it. There's no particular
Don't mind.
reason. I'm just
Don't
gonna go to
mind,
school
don't mind.
early tomorrow.
But yeah,
Yeah.
Skip and Loafer good.
Let's talk about it.
Mason, why is it 8?
Let's talk about the dangers in the room.
Okay, so
He
Well,
already
kind of-
he already explained, by the way, why Skip and Loafer was low. He said he reasonably could swap it
Yeah, I
or
know.
should with Yamada,
Yeah.
but we'll
I'm
talk.
Just, I'm just
Yeah.
joking. I'm just joking.
So Dangers in My Heart, basic idea. Kid is a serial killer in the making.
He is the
He's emo.
stereotypical quiet kid in class.
He's got problems.
He's
If
got
he was in
some
America, he
fucking
would be on the
issues.
news already.
Yes, he's got some fucking issues. And he wants to kill the most popular girl in class, Yamada. We have several Yamadas this season. I think that's what it was.
But this is Yamada-chan,
Yeah, maybe.
not
Yeah.
Yamada-kun.
And he, being the quiet kid in class, likes hanging out in the library because it's quiet. And he sees her one day just fucking snacking, which is weird because she's a model. He then has this weird they're almost friendly, but they don't really talk. But she's just nice. And that's about it. And he, over the course of all of the 3 episodes, sees her get into things where he could feasibly help her, and after freaking out about it for a minute, ends up doing the thing that will help her. In the first episode, a guy is harassing her to get her to add him online. And so our main boy throws his bike into the goddamn river, so it'll make the guy that's harassing Yamada be like, "What the fuck was that?" and get her away from him. This show, we talked about it a little bit before podcast. It's not great. I'll be honest. It's not great. It's really weird, and the other kids that are in the class are excessively horny.
Yeah, they are the worst way to write a fucking 8th grader or something. They're like the thing that every 8th grader, every thought they had but never expressed ever because it would be weird to do. They just outwardly shout to each other in class, and it's just fucking weird.
Yeah. This show, when they're not on screen, is honestly fine, I think, because our main boy, while being edgy and weird, isn't the worst, weirdly enough.
Yeah, he's honestly not that bad. Most of it, I legitimately think in episode 3, in the second half, the infirmary scene,
It's
the
incredible.
entire 7 minutes in the infirmary is so good.
It's
From
incredible.
her crying on the phone to the "I like her" scene,
Mhm.
it's so fucking good. It's crazy.
That's the only. I will say that's why the show is at 11 for me and not 12, is because of that. The last half of episode 3 brought it up for me.
Here's my
Because-
problem. Is that even that scene winds up getting looped back and tied to the asshats in the classroom, that it almost gets secondhand tainted, where I'm like, oh, I just don't know. Now everything he does also has a weird pervy feel, because it does. There are scenes where it does the Vinner Girlfriend, where there are scenes where it's like, that's right, He's got a boner. Did you know guys
Yeah.
can do
Yeah,
that?
yeah, he certainly does go off screen to jack off multiple times.
Yeah,
When
Yeah.
he
he
grabs his hand
has.
from the top, and he certainly
Yep.
gives the innuendo of, "Yep, I have a boner now."
The flags are raised. It's just there are things, but I agree. There are shining moments where either this show's insanely funny. I'm on Blue Orchestra. I apologize. Where the show is insanely funny, or the thing that happens is really really interesting. The bike scene at the end of episode 1's phenomenal. It's really interesting. I wish more of the stuff that happens is like that. I think him giving her the drawing's really nice. The fact that she has it in the wall, it's a really good like character moment. But it's just everything between bloody tissues, bloody shirt, the fact that he's bad things are happening with that shirt. It's just I will say the funniest scene in this show by far is the tissue scene. That scene fucking rules. Where he writes it out on one pack of tissues and then goes, No, I have more. I'll get it right. And then just zooms out and there's just tissues fucking everywhere. The most deranged thing someone could do. Incredibly funny. The cat scene, very fucking awkward. Did not need. The cat meowing behind the library books. It is just, there are so many scenes in this show that are like, this situation should never, and almost, in my opinion, can never physically happen. It just won't. It will just never come to it.
The funny thing, the cat scene isn't even that bad. Like it's like a little silly.
The
It's kinda
conversation's
cute,
the worst
but
part.
even that it's connected to the worst fucking bit, which is the guy going, "Oh yeah, I like them as curvy, as big as they come."
Yeah.
And it's just directly to the girl he likes, and
You know
goes,
what-
"Yeah, I like you because you're fat."
It's
the fuck?
the worst part is that's almost if it was just worded slightly differently, it wouldn't actually be that bad. It would honestly be like a nice, because she's not that heavy of a girl. It would wind up being it would just wind up being a nice like, no, I actually think you're perfectly fine the way you are kind of moment. But they take it in a very weird, like obsession direction. There's a scene where they play with the one guy's tits in the classroom.
Yeah, didn't like that. That was weird.
I mean, that's a very like schoolboy thing to do.
In like the
I guess,
locker
but, like,
room.
it's just
Yeah.
I mean,
I
the boys
do
in
enjoy
general-
how the entire girl population of the 4 girls, the most based group of people
They're
ever.
so great.
Yeah, the girls are great. The boy characters, I mean, really enough, the girls besides the main girl, I think, are the best. Like,
Yeah.
I
I
don't
even think
really
she's
like that
fine.
much.
She's
I think
just
she's okay.
she's kind of cute. She's fine.
I
She
think
kind
she's
of
vibes.
this
I
is just
think
kind of
she's-
like Nagatoro, where she's just kind of bullying him into doing stuff for her.
But I don't know. I
Um,
don't even think that's
to a
it. Because
degree.
hear me out. One, I don't think anything she does has any kind of malicious or bully intent that Nagatoro
no,
does.
she's oblivious. as
Two,
fuck.
I also don't think there's any real clear indication besides her keeping the picture that there's any sort of attraction between the two of them at this point from her end. And my biggest issue with her is she just feels like every bland trope of a character thrown into one that's happened recently.
It's the
She's
worst
a foodie.
Komi-san.
She's a model. Yet she looks like Komi.
She does look like Comey.
But it's just
She
she's
eat
not
the
as good as
snack
Komi.
food.
Yeah, like it's.
She talks about as much as Komi-san does, and one of those characters actually has a communication disorder. I'm just saying, like, has she said more than a full sentence in a scene?
She has. She actually talks a decent
she?
amount.
When
It's
she
just like-
talks to her best friend, she talks.
She
a lot.
talks to her best. She talks to her friends a lot.
But
No, I'm not gonna lie. I even told John when we were watching stuff last night, because I was watching episode 3 of this show, and I was like, John, one of my shows is probably going off first. And then I got to the last the second half of that show, and I was like, I got a fighting chance. But no, I do understand. The show is not great. Like, it has really good moments and really bad moments. But for me, I put it at 11 because I would appreciate the really low lows and the really high highs versus for me, below average consistency.
Yeah, we'll talk
That's fair.
about My Home Hero when we get there.
Yeah.
Which is soon. But first, let's talk about another show that has some conversation we need to have about it. Hi Michael.
Blue Orchestra. this is a show that I really, really wanted to enjoy.
Yep.
A lot like another show by the same studio,
Yup.
What did they do?
Lucifer and the Biscuit
Right.
Hammer.
Yep. Nope. Yep.
Yeah.
Boy, can you
Correct. Got it.
fucking tell when you're watching it.
Mhm.
So this is a story about a boy named I don't remember his first name.
Auno.
Last name he's called Auno. The joke is that his name is Blue because he has blue hair. Haha, funny. And then we have Asuka Langley, the other lead character.
Sorry, Michael.
Well,
I
you
don't
just
know her actual, I don't remember her
remember-
actual name, but she
remember-
looks like Asuka.
Remember, our main boy also just does look like Minato Arisato, the main character from Persona 3.
Michael, by the way, I'm sorry to interrupt. You reminded me of the greatest review of all time, which is the Wonder Egg review from our favorite Mal reviewer of just, oh, her name's Ioto, huh?
She has an odd eye.
How clever!
Ah.
Just all I can think. Just all I can think of about Ioto, and you're like, it's blue. It's like, who knew?
We need to get the AI bot to like speak that fucking review.
Like, we'll
Yeah.
continue talking about Blue Orchestra.
So a story is about our boy Auno who he had a dad. Has a dad.
Sure,
Dad. Dad play violin. Dad make him play violin. Dad abuse him. Dad not good person. He no longer like play violin.
Also have a fair on his
Girl
wife.
want play violin. He teach girl play violin. Now he play violin again. The scene at the end of episode 2 was very good. That shit was great.
Yeah.
Him playing Paco Bell's
Oh.
canon was amazing.
That's why this show is as high as it is for me, is just because of that scene.
See, in kind of reversed for this and my The Darkness in My Heart. Episode 3 for me of this show very much undid a lot of the work episode 2 did.
Mm.
Yeah.
And let's talk about it.
After this, so he starts playing violin again. He realizes, wait, the violin's actually just fun to play because you know it
It's
is
a violin,
violin
dope.
pretty cool. And he's like, and then so this entire thing of him teaching the girl gets spurred on by his gym teacher ? He wears a tracksuit, so I assume he's the gym teacher at their school. He's also his like counselor for he's career counselor guy. So and the idea is he's now gonna go into from him playing violin, he's trying to go to a school that has an orchestra club, which is the alma mater of the teacher. Because of course it is. You gotta push people towards your alma mater.
I mean, school that has the orchestra club.
Hey, it's a pretty good orchestra club. And episode 3 they go and watch the orchestra club. And boy is it a scene.
I'll tell you what, the music's really good.
Hey, the music's really
If you
good.
just close your eyes, it's a fantastic scene.
Yeah. And because there's a large amount of people in the group, it's done in CG.
And you know what? There are
And
some
of
shots.
it doesn't look
yeah.
bad. I legitimately think
Yeah.
everything with a brass instrument in it
Actually
looks
looks really good.
But everything with
Yeah,
the
The percussionists in the back,
Percussion's
they be
so
fucked the fuck up.
The timpani.
The violin players are they're something.
Let's.
Oh god.
My recommendation
want-
for anyone who wants to watch Blue Orchestra: do not look at hands of the orchestra.
No.
Just don't look at their hands. It'll do you
There's
so.
multiple times where I paused and rewatched it
Yeah.
because I was laughing so hard
Yeah.
at the timpani
Percussion,
players
yep.
missing the drums.
Oh
And
god.
it was just fucking hilarious.
He's also
I-
going so fast.
So I had watched it.
I mean, that
and-
is how fast
and
you
Jo-
go.
I had watched it, and we got to that scene. I was like, John,
Stop.
watch the timpani. You have to watch the timpani.
That's
But
what I
you
did,
already
yep.
know I was going to, and I was not ready.
Like I will
No.
say, I do believe like all of the stuff they do on the instruments is like
Yeah.
really accurate to what it would actually be like. They actually visibly
It's a
show what a
timpani.
timpani roll looks like.
They do.
Like the fact that you have to play that fast.
Yeah.
It's a timpani roll.
It's a
It
single
doesn't
roll.
look great.
Good.
Yeah.
There's also they do a shot which we knew existed because we watched the trailer where they cut through the orchestra group and doing any of these characters from a large side profile as you cut through the orchestra looks horrible. They should not do it. They need to avoid doing it as much as possible. This isn't the worst CG I've ever seen. Let's make that very
It's
clear.
not.
Yeah.
that
It's-
bad.
but it's not- it's not
very
good.
jarring.
It's
because it
it's
doesn't-
not
it
very
stands out.
good. But I
My
expected
man is
this.
my man walking up to conduct. He stands the fuck up.
We'll put it this way: it's a lot closer. I watched the conductor walk up 3 times.
Yeah.
Everything
I will
about
say,
him is CG. by
This
the
show's
way.
it's not the worst I've seen, but it's closer to X-Arm than it is to Trigun.
yeah.
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 Yeah. One more thing. My biggest, so I think the general story, like Aono and girl, I don't remember her name. I was going to pull it up, and then I got sidetracked
Just call her
talking
Oscar.
about
It's fine.
Akine.
Akine. Yeah,
God, it's even close.
him and Akine. I think they're both solid characters. I enjoy the two of them interacting. They're really solid. They're real fun. I really think this is like a decently interesting story. I do want to see more of this. The show doesn't make me want to do that with how fucking dog shit it looks 90% of the time.
It's also not visually appealing outside of the CG for me. It's all one color most of the time.
The reason I brought up the fact that it was made by the Biscuit Hammer studio is that this has a similar issue to Biscuit Hammer, which is that it's really flat so often. There is so little happening in so many shots. There is like you can go a literal minute where the only thing that moves is character mouths, and sometimes they blinked on just a bunch of still frames.
Yeah.
There's so little. Like even I understand an action show is gonna have a lot more movement, and I'm not comparing it to that. I'm comparing it to something like fucking Skip and Loafer, where they're doing karaoke and all six characters in that room are being super dynamic and have like complete expressiveness.
Yeah.
And literally, there's entire minutes of this where neither character makes an expression. They're just blank, blatant stares doing nothing.
Well, guys,
boring.
Going back to the Skip and Loafer thing, our introduction to our like group of friends is all the little shots of them from like the side and angles and stuff where you don't quite see their faces, and it's the most animated thing I've seen this season.
It's so good.
It's incredible.
But let me do the show a little bit of a favor and shoot a couple of things I really enjoy. Episode 3, it's revealed that Akina is smart, and Ano has the greatest line of all time where he goes, "Wait, you're actually intelligent?" And she goes, "Yeah, of course I am. I lived alone." And it's like, hold on, you should get more angry at the fact that you just revealed how smart you are, and his response was, "Wait, but you're a dumb bitch. What do you mean?" It is such a funny line.
She's just like, yeah, what else do you think I was gonna do in the infirmary the whole time?
Yeah.
I didn't have anyone to talk to.
I did love that, like, he was away, he was asleep, and just going like, man, that's so out of tune. You missed another note. Nope, that sounds terrible. And woke up and was just like, oh, this bitch, that's what the noise was.
This dumb bitch.
The two things I'm really excited for, because I personally think it's probably gonna stay. I don't think I think it'll probably be fine, to stay for at least another week. Akina might have pitch perfect hearing. That's dope.
She might
that's
have
rad.
Pitch.
It's his he's like pretty sure on it, which makes me feel like the show's gonna do it. Like if they wouldn't bring it up if they wouldn't do it.
It's gonna do it for this reason, because this is gonna let her power scale a bit closer to a relevant level for this school.
Yeah.
Which I think is important.
Also,
like, it gives her a cheat code, basically.
Her best friend knows him, and either doesn't want to talk to him because trauma from his dad, or has like the biggest,
he's
like
the hottest man ever.
Yeah, also she's just a sound euphonium character.
Also, I just like to say I called it with this show. We were 2 minutes into the show with Sean and I was like, "Dad or missing dad? I'm calling it now."
It's important to note that I don't think we get confirmation that his dad is fully physical abusive with him yet. I wouldn't be surprised, given the nature of his father. We do get confirmation that his dad cheated on his wife and had an affair, and that caused paparazzi to terrorize his mother for however long. Which, you know what? Justifiable reasons. His mom's incredible, though. Moms this season are so good. What great
I don't know if
wingmans.
the mom blocked it out, or if she's just like already past it. But like, mom is fucking goated.
I think she's come to terms with the fact that her son should be able to enjoy music without it. She can separate what happened with her husband with her son's talent, and I think she's gotten back to the point where music isn't a traumatizing thing for her. It's something she can enjoy.
He brought a friend over, and she was a girl, and like, what the fuck? Now he's teaching her music in the private music room, and this is cute. I will bring them snacks at some point, probably.
Base mother.
A lot of base parents.
Yeah, I do have some hesitations about this. And Michael, as strange as it is to say, as much as I don't like Nodame Cantabile overall, I don't know if this show's orchestra plot is going to be as good as that show's orchestra plots. Nodame Cantabile has a really good story around the characters who play music well. The problem is it has one central character who does not play music well and is not enjoyable to see on screen ever.
Nodame is actually fucking unbearable for 20 episodes. And
But
then she decides to just become a decent character.
They also write her out of like a 5-episode arc, and it's probably the best part of that show, where she just disappears for 5 episodes to learn piano, kind of.
I think I stopped that part.
It's the best part, because you get to see him interact with the rest of the orchestra, and they're all really good at what they do, and he's not as much of an asshole when she's not around. It's crazy.
But anyways, we're talking about Blue Orchestra and how, wow, CG is certainly a decision.
We got
Like,
anything...
I get why they did
You
it,
have-
don't
No,
get
no,
me
for-
wrong.
This studio has to do it. They don't have the budget to not do it. I get it. It's difficult. I'm not...
Yeah, I'm not blaming
Like,
the studio. I'm
Like,
just saying,
Sound
like,
Euphonium is a fucking wonder of a fucking
Masterclass.
story.
Is that
Like,
Kyoto?
Yeah, I think it was Kyo. But yeah, the fact that Sound Euphonium came out when it did and animates every member of the band the way it does and makes them all look good is crazy. There's so many things to be taking out anytime you have a decently large group shot playing instruments.
Mhm.
And it's really hard to animate people playing instruments. Even Bocchi turns to CG when the characters are playing.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it's just hard to animate realistic stuff without mapping it to a real person doing something. And like an actual 3D model doing it.
Hear me out, though. I do think something that Bocchi has, and this might also be a personal thing, I think classical music doesn't have the ability to mask visual the same way that, like, rock does. Because, like, you hear the sound in Bocchi, and you can focus on how nice the guitar looks and the sound, and, like, kind of ignore some of the CG there. With classical, part of it to me is, like, it's executed in a very particular way where seeing how the instrument is played is important. That, like, you can't really... The whole point of an orchestra is you can't ignore the entire orchestra.
mhm, good point.
I also should probably have put this lower, to be honest, but I just really liked that scene from episode 2.
That's fine. It's a
That
good-ass
is
scene.
absolutely fair. It was a very good scene.
I love the fact that
Taco
everyone
Bell's
just...
Canon is a very beautiful piece of music.
Yeah.
Yes.
Michael, do you think...
the episodes are already at the high school? Thank God.
Michael, do you think we're gonna get the song at all? From our boy, Claire de
Moonlight
Lune?
Waltz?
Claire de Lune.
We might.
We might
might
get
have.
Claire de Lune, but
I would
also
not be shocked.
Debussy?
Claire. Well, the thing is,
By
Claire de
Debussy?
Lune.
Like Debussy.
Debussy. Like,
But guys,
the thing is with Claire
does-
de Lune.
Does
it's
Mason know,
generally-
Michael? I don't think he knows.
He doesn't
What?
know.
I don't think I know. but
Good. You'll know one day.
I'm. I feel like it's a Danganronpa thing.
Sorry.
He'll know one day.
But Claire de Lune also is like traditionally a piano piece, so I don't know if we'll get it as an orchestral version. Because the only time I've ever heard an orchestral version of that song is, weirdly enough, Ocean's 11. But
You know what? Not
But
as
guys,
equally as crazy as the other place I've heard it, so you know what?
I think the real question is, guys, are we going to get Chopin's Ballad number 1 in G minor, OP 23 again?
Also
oh,
important,
fuck
yeah.
yeah.
The answer is no, because that's also piano.
Also, here's the thing for the podcast. This show also loses ground for me because I'm not a music buff, especially not a classical music buff. So, like, these three have me beat in that regard, in that they have a lot more general knowledge. They'll hear a
True.
song and probably go, "It's that." I'll hear it and go, "Yeah, that's familiar. I've heard it."
No, I'll go familiar. I heard it, and then point to my drum head in my room and be like, I play big drum. I know how that work.
Whoa,
You know, it's one of those
crazy!
things where a
Drum,
lot of, like, the
drum,
really, like,
drum.
I mean,
Because so
I
many
played-
really big pieces have like the stupid because they didn't name pieces of music back in the day.
Yeah.
Like literally, you had this set of music was like this set, and you had like the 12 opuses of it or whatever, or you were like opus 12 part this. We've eventually given some of them names. Like
Mhm.
Nocturne wasn't originally called Nocturne.
No.
It was just like Symphony 5 Opus 3 Part 7 or some bullshit. I don't remember exactly what it was, but
Like-
we just called it Nocturne.
Ode to Joy was never Ode to Joy. I think that was Beethoven's third. I don't
Like,
remember.
it's like part.
But
It's like
either way,
the part of like movement 4 of his third
Yeah.
symphony or something.
Yeah.
Hey guys, my home hero. Let's talk about my home hero. you might think, Sean, aren't you worried about spoiling this? No, everything that's spoiler-worthy happens in the first episode. So, sorry, you're gonna be spoiled about the plot of My Home Hero, because its entire plot starts in episode 1.
The entire plot starts within like 30 seconds.
We have a dad. Yeah. We have a dad who has grown whose daughter has grown distant from him, and he just wants to reconnect with her. She wants nothing to do with him, especially because she's in an abusive relationship with her boyfriend. Her dad decides he's gonna go do something about that, and while he tails the two of them, gets beat up in an alleyway by the mafia. He then decides that, despite that warning, he doesn't care. And you know what? Kinda based. Breaks into his daughter's house. Maybe not so based. Hides in the closet and then commits murder on her abusive boyfriend. We loop back around to based again. With a rice cooker. We loop back around to based again. Now you might be asking yourself, how does a normal father, deal with this? The answer is, he's really, really into mystery stories. What the fuck did you post?
You tell me the most base tweet of the whole world for the third time.
God damn it.
Shit.
So,
the longer I look at it, the funnier it gets.
Yeah, so tab off it.
So good.
So because he's big in the mystery novels and likes reading and critiquing them, he decides he knows exactly how to handle this and starts to cover up the crime. His wife then walks in on him covering up the crime and goes, "You know what, honey? I'm ride or die. Let's go." And thus his family gets wrapped into trying to hide the body of the son of a mafia boss kind of thing. He might not be... They're a shady organization. It's hard to tell what they are sometimes. Definitely not the police, though. And then episode 2 and 3 is them continuing to, go through the plan of hiding the body, and trying to outwit this gang who's trying to track down the body of the missing son. This is a show about family. Episode 1 has some odd pacing to it. It's a very rough first episode. I think episode 2 pulls it back by having an honestly decently solid plot and feeling paced like a normal show should. Not a lot happens in episode 3. Like progression-wise. They are kidnapped and interrogated. And it's really a matter of how down are you to how much this father and his wife can outsmart these goons. I don't think there's anything I'm particularly spooked by. I like the way they do some things. It might be crazy for me to say, I don't think they go gruesome enough for this kind of show. I think they should go darker.
I agree, legitimately.
Hey, Mason, you should read Until Your Bones Rot.
Yeah, you should read it till your bones rot. It's like this kind of thing so much better.
So I went into this thinking this was going to be somewhat like Monster, and then it wasn't dark enough. I was expecting like this to get really, really dark really quick, and it just hasn't. Like, it's just kind of a mob story, really.
What the show has for me is an interest to know what they're going to do. Because I don't think you can play cat and mouse with the Mafia for 12 episodes. I don't think you have enough content.
How far we're going here.
Yeah.
That's what one thing. Like, I until like the end of 3, I was kind of like, I don't know what the fuck we're doing. We think we got it right at the end. I'm like, okay, we got a little bit more here. I want to see how the fuck this ends up going on for any amount of more time.
Here's an important question I posed to the podcast. His daughter finds out that they've killed her abusive boyfriend. Is she mad at them?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, probably.
How long do you think she stays mad at them, and is it going to be something you have a problem with if this show continues on? On one hand, is an abusive boyfriend, was for the best. On the other hand, trauma's real, and people react in ways that are, gut emotional responses. She very clearly has a thought that he does love her in some way. We have only been shown the horrible things he's done, which are horrible. This show, while I don't think is good, I think is going to raise certain questions and situations that are going to be interesting. I just hope it handles them right, and in ways that aren't really bad. Hey guys, what's the whole song bit in episode 1? What the fuck's that about? He writes his daughter a song, and she's maybe she's a singer of some kind. Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know what that
I think they
was.
just really care about their daughter. You know, it's kind of what it comes down to. I see. For me, I put it highly, and it probably shouldn't be as high as it is, just because I think like first off, the wife is super based.
She's crazy, and I think it's really
I think the stuff
fascinating.
with her in episode 3 was really good.
I like that she can't she comes into the apartment and goes, "What's that?" He's like, her boyfriend. She's like,
Steamed
"Oh,
hams.
we should probably get going hide in
can
that
I
body, huh?" Like he just like doesn't skip a fucking beat. It's just like, "What you need? You gonna go get some
There-
fluid and some stuff?" Like,
The thing that got me was her asking, "Have you killed anyone before?" Yet she is immediately in on this. No screaming, no
Hey, man.
no hesitation.
You should ask your
Nothing.
wife if she's killed someone before. That's a
Yeah,
really important
exactly.
question. We gotta figure out.
I feel like she framed it in a way that she hadn't, though, where she's like, "You seem very well prepared with everything and the solutions," because she doesn't propose any ideas. She just lets him go with it, and she doesn't really contribute to the plan. She's just like, "Okay, I will just help," which I don't think she has. My biggest thing is I think episode 3 really deters from like the story, and that like I liked where it was going at like episode 1 and 2, where it's like, we're playing keep away from the mafia. That's cool. And then the mafia just says, "Fuck this shit. We're kidnapping you motherfuckers and getting you to tell the truth, or we're just gonna kill you."
Yeah, that's the point where it feels like all the tension and like game
Yeah.
disappears
It's
is
like we
when
hit a climax.
is when the guy's like, no. Whether you're telling me the truth or not, you die. Which, like, on one hand, I get it. On the other hand, the only reason
Joran?
this isn't happening is because all the other guys are like, fuck it, we don't have time to fuck around with this. Like, they would rather not have to cover up 5 more deaths.
Well, and legitimately too, this could have been very easily avoided if our fucking like Wonder Boy McGee from the Mafia that does fucking everything just wore a goddamn mask or something.
It's so funny. It's so funny that it's just his.
He's the only one that doesn't. That's what
Okay.
gets me. Why
You
the
could
fuck does
also
the main
look
character?
in there.
Also-
Two
Also,
things.
Get a
why
bag
is he
on
the
his
main
head.
character from Watch Dogs? He's just the main character from Watch Dogs.
Yeah.
Two.
Also, he could just left the bag on his head and just been like,
I'm killing you,
like untied him and then like been like, "If you turn around, I will kill you," and then just left.
Yeah.
or killed him.
Like,
Just killed him with the bag on his head. He
Or
never
just
needed to
killed
know.
him.
Yeah.
or just dropped him from the crane that he was hooked up to.
By the
Or we could have done the Squid Game thing as well, where we just fucking leave the bag on his head and just throw him out some random
Also-
fucking place.
Also, like the plastic wrap on the wife totally would have suffocated her with how long that was on.
And-
her.
well, the fucking
Why
bag on
keep-
his head would have
why-
suffocated it.
why keep her in the house? Move her to a secondary location. Come on now. It's Mafia
Yeah.
101.
You know the
Um,
daughter's upstairs. Well, I think they didn't move her because they know that if the neighbors saw them, they're gonna call the police.
Yeah.
So that was the timer they're on. And if they move the body, then they're definitely gonna get followed by the police. Whereas if they leave, there's no real like way to trace them.
I think this show's biggest detriment, besides the fact it doesn't look great.
Yeah.
It doesn't look great. It's not bad, but it's
I
just
think,
not
I
anything
think it
else
looks
that-
fine. I think it does what it's trying to do.
Yeah.
I think the scene in episode it's in 3, with him imagining himself on the building was really
Yeah.
well done.
I
That
was
really
it,
really
it,
good.
It fucked with me because I went. They didn't take the bag off his. Oh. And I
Mhm.
thought it was cool. What I'll say is I think its biggest hill it has to get over is how dumb can you make the opposition before they're too dumb? Because there's a couple of things that do get me. One, yeah, wear a fucking mask, idiot. 2, I need to ask you all this. White ski masks? For nighttime
Yeah, that was-
infiltration?
Yeah, that was a weird one. I was
Also,
wondering
just,
about
like,
that too.
Infiltrating the house in broad daylight when people are
Yeah, he just
They're
walks
not
in.
that
Gonna
good
go
at
in
their
and out?
job. I think it's the idea.
To me, the one that I love, that I think is really funny and does not go too far into wow, you're so dumb, is the I'm gonna look for the body parts, hides in closet. Where could they be? And you just see the bags next to him. It's so funny. He's so close
It
to
probably
it.
smells a little bit too.
I also love the fact that they send the guy out as a property appraiser, and they're immediately like, "Oh, this guy's fucking with the mob."
Yo, you got a card? I'm actually out of cards. Crazy. It's like,
Yeah,
come
well,
on, guys.
Loafer,
You
you ready
should
now?
really have your cover stories. Like, you should have cards. That's not hard to do.
Right?
Yeah.
Go to a fucking like.
To me,
Oh, it's-
the thing that gets me in episode 3 is when the wife starts to tell the story, it's so obviously rehearsed.
Yeah.
Because she
where
delivers it the exact same way he does to start. There's no variation in the script.
Yeah, it's also funny how they're like, they have to do the cutaway to be like, oh yeah, and I'm like, here's a script in case they ask us questions because they might be onto us.
It's so
maybe.
obvious.
And it's like, you do need to do this? This is just 3 minutes of wasted time. This was like the most obvious thing ever.
Yeah.
It was clear you thought this through.
Her making up her story part, or her like feigning being insane. Great. That part was fucking amazing.
Yeah, she just hacks into the I am a white suburban mom. I pray for if he's lost, I can pray for you too.
It's like, wait, I can believe in Jesus. That's how I'll get out of this.
That bit was really good. I'll say that.
But yeah, no,
to be fair, her life wasn't nearly as big as that risk as his.
Yeah,
is.
I agree with you, Michael, though, because like they didn't need to flash back to show us him creating the fake phone contact. What smart play on his part, by the way, to have created this alternate personality for himself that is just a cleaner who is just a private
PI.
A PI that doesn't take any message tracks. Smart. He's a smart man.
Yeah, no.
It's clever. They didn't have to show us that. They didn't have to show him setting it up.
I think our main guy's plans have all been basically flawless, and it's just the stupidity of our opposition is causing it to go awry.
They're
like,
kind of idiot savants.
It's like D&D, where like you have a plan and it goes so fucking far awry that it works out for the wrong reason. In this case, like it's not working out, but like they're gonna just end up fucking murdering him.
Yeah.
Is the plan. And now it's like I'm like, what the fuck are they gonna do next? Now that he's like working with it, like what happens when you just have to tell him where the body is?
Oh
like,
no, they're just gonna
kill him.
I just have to imagine he's gonna kill this guy. We're just gonna have a trail of body. It's how far down the body hole can you go before you've become a bad person?
One person. Yes.
Depends on the person. Can't argue. Something else I will say is that what was the point I was gonna make? Just the scene that might be the most crazy thing to me, where it's like, okay, dude, calm down. Is when he's putting up the newspaper on the walls to the bathroom when he's cleaning it. And he puts up the one that just says, "Father arrested for murder." It's like, bro, calm down. You know it's not you. It couldn't possibly be you. You know, you read mystery novels.
No, but he's
calm the fuck down.
He's like worried about the future of like, eventually I'm gonna get caught for this.
Well,
right?
yeah, probably. He committed murder.
Yeah, I expected
In
it
Japan.
to be one of. Yeah, I expected it to be a thing where like he sees that, then we get another cut to like him like blinking, and it cuts and it's not that on the thing. He just thought it was.
That'd be dope.
Because paranoia.
Yeah. I'm hoping a saving grace for this show might be that I'm hoping the dad on the mafia side, he has enough bad shit insane energy so far that I'm kind of down if he becomes a more in character on this story. Because his introduction of just putting on fucking voices and just having the world's longest circle jerk of a fake hotline to help people is incredible. And he's very intimidating. For being a very Death Note scrub looking character.
He definitely does look like that one guy that like killed like halfway through. That was like the detective.
Yeah. God, what a good screenshot this is. Hey John, it's time to talk about the show that I have really low that no one else does, or mid that no one else does.
Mid, yeah. So this is my second show. This is Insomniacs. So this is a show about our main boy, and I can pull up names again.
Ganta.
I have this ready. Ganta. And he is having trouble staying awake during the day because go figure. If you don't sleep, you gotta sleep eventually. Your body eventually just goes, no, it's time to shut down. Unfortunately for him, he's on my schedule. Where you just don't sleep during the right time, and you just sleep during the day.
He's on
the problem
our
is
schedule.
For him is he goes to school during the times I'm asleep. In which he's just basically kind of having struggles. He's kind of picked on by his classmates for always being lazy and stuff because he's just fucking tired.
Yeah, they also think he's like an ass who just is like.
Yeah, he is an asshole, but he's also just crabby because he's just not getting any sleep.
He's a justified asshole. He has no sleep.
Yeah.
And so they send him on this mission to go get some cardboard boxes for like the school festival. And he's like, fine, whatever, fuck, I'll do it. I'm just over it. And so he goes to go get these boxes, and he's like, oh yeah, it's by that haunted observatory that no one goes in anymore because the club closed down. And he's like, oh, the door's open. I guess I'll just take a look in here. And he finds a sleeping girl up there, who's our other main character, Maguri or Isaki. And they bond over their inability to sleep, and she freaks out because it turns out the doorknob is broken and it locks from the inside. It can only be opened from the outside. And so he's like, hey, can I borrow your phone? I got a friend I can trust. He won't tell anybody about this place. It's fine. Seems like a nice cozy place. And so they call the friend, they kind of sit down, they have a nice little buddy chat, and they both fall asleep together. The next thing you know, they get woken up by their buddy knocking on the door. They get let out, and they put a padlock on it, which is like the secret code. So she passes him the secret code with a high five for the padlock to the observatory. And then episode 2, the observatory gets found out. One of the teachers finds him working on the lock and goes, hey, what are you doing? Which he kind of has to explain the whole deal where they moved a whole sofa or a love seat up there. They got snacks up there now and like a dresser and stuff. And she's like, okay, listen, I know this is going on for you guys, but you can't do that. It's against school rule. And so they're kind of like, hey, what if we just like make the astronomy club? And she's like, I got to talk to the teachers about this. And so they call them both to the principal office. Everyone just goes, ooh, you're in trouble. And he's like, yeah, probably. And so they go to the principal's office and they go, no, you're not in trouble. That's fucking awesome. Good for you guys. Go start your club. Someone's got to use that fucking telescope up there.
Or
and so
super
then
science school.
So they have a little giggle about some of the stuff going on. They have to learn, okay, start with just focusing on the moon with a basic bitch telescope, and then kind of move your way up to taking pictures and stuff, and then we'll eventually let you use our big fancy observatory telescope. And so episode 3 is all about, okay, let's figure out how to actually like take these pictures at night and in focus. And so they're like, oh, there was a senpai that used to be in the astronomy club called Yui Shiramaru, who lives a bit of ways now, but he can probably teach us some of the basics. This guy kind of runs the manager of a arcade and teaches them, okay, here's how the camera works. Here's how you put it in focus and take pictures.
That's a girl.
Sorry.
Bra scene.
He's non-binary.
He's non-binary.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Teaches them how to use a bunch of the camera stuff. Getting it in focus, what all the things mean, how it works and stuff. Use a remote starter because you got to be very careful with the vibrations if you push the button too fast. And so then they get allowed to set up their tent and stuff in the room again and get cozy again, and they're allowed to start kind of working on taking pictures of the night sky and stuff. So to describe the show, and then we get like a nice shot of like Yui who's taking pictures at the end of the episode on her own outside, and texts them a cute picture with the help of his cat or their cat, and is like, oh man, I texted him at 2 a.m. No one's up at this hour, and then they immediately reply because they're both insomniacs and can't sleep. And like to describe the show in just like a sentence, I just call it vibe, because the show's just a vibe. The 2 main characters are just absolutely wonderful, as we mentioned multiple times in this podcast so far. Very good main cast. The student advisor teacher, Kuroshiki, she's wonderful. Really supports our main cast. Which is what you like to see out of your school counselors and advisors. And then like it's just good to see these 2 like grow closer very slowly over this like bonding of like, hi, I can't sleep. We come up here to take naps together. We're napping
They're
buddies.
gonna take some naps.
They're gonna take some naps.
They go and nap well together.
They go on nap. But that's kind of all I have to say about it. It's definitely a vibe. It's very much one of those shows, I think, that like you kind of have to be in a bit of a mood to watch if you're not watching this like we are, like week to week. Like I definitely think it's one of those, like, if you're gonna binge it, you kind of have to have like a mood of like, I kind of want to watch a really chill show that I'm just gonna like have a good time. It's gonna make me smile. It's gonna make me feel good, and it's just gonna be a good old time.
This is a
Definitely not going to stab you. Definitely not. Not
oh
at
my
all.
god, the fucking the music in the show is wonderful too. The background tracks and stuff.
The lo-fi like guitar track that they use a lot is legitimately one of my favorite OST tracks in any anime ever now. For me, like, this show gives me the same feeling that I felt watching Call of the Night, and they're very similar shows aside from the supernatural thing.
Yeah, this is Call of the Night with significantly less horny.
Yeah,
So I enjoyed it more than I enjoyed Call of the Night
fair.
because I wasn't
And-
a fan of the horny.
I get that, and I generally agree with you. I just really like this show because it fits the exact vibe of what I love, and also Insomnia. So I love this show. It's my number 2 for a reason. Like, this show's fucking great. I agree with John that I feel like most people would definitely need to have like a certain vibe, like be in a certain mood to watch this show. I don't, but it's because of the whole like this just fits exactly what I love. So
I'm always in the mood to watch people vibe.
I
I'm
have
a vibe man. I like the vibes.
I have no major issues with this show. It's just not my cup of tea to the degree it is everybody else's. I don't dislike watching it. It's not like I want to turn it off or it puts me to sleep or anything. Like, it's a perfectly fine show that I have no problems with. It's just, I mean, if I want a good slice of life to vibe to, I have Skip and Loafer for me. And the fact that it's middle of the pack shows that I still really like a lot of like the choices it's making and how it looks and how it's presented. It's just that, like there's another show that I think is also really good that's also below this one just because, yeah, it's nice, it's wholesome. What are you doing for 12 episodes? That is, like, what is going to make you more interesting for me? And like, I'm hoping this gets really cool because I'm a big fan of space. I like space. I like the stars. I do enjoy these characters. I'm excited to see how things go. I'm hoping for a little more out of the characters because I don't feel like I've gotten enough out of them to like really, really enjoy them yet either, or to have them be set apart from a lot of other just pairs this season. So for me, it's just, I'm fine with it sitting for a while. But it's not anything that like fires lots of neurons or is very, personal to me that I care a lot about. It's just a good show. That's where I sit with it.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what it is about the show that I like so much. Maybe it's just Auguri's general. Her personality is amazing.
She's great. I like her.
Her posing while sending him texts, fucking adorable.
Mhm.
Space is really cool. Space pictures, real cool.
Yeah.
Big fan of them taking space pictures.
I
don't know what this show's just good.
I'm a little worried
I just
about
love it.
the quality of some of the photos getting downsized because of the way the show's animated. But the photo at the end of episode 3 is a really nice photo that looks great. So I'm not as worried about it. But when they took the first shot, I know they're amateurs and that's the point. It's not supposed to look good. I was like, that really still doesn't look as good as I felt like it should have.
Yeah, that's
It looked a little blurry.
It's supposed to kind of look whatever.
It looked like a little more blur. It looked kind of blurry where it's like, oh, you didn't like rescale it properly into frame. Was my issue with that first photo. But again, the last one looked really good, so I'm chalking it up to directional choice to make it look bad. I'm excited to see what the show does. I hope it does stuff that I enjoy. I hope it hurts me. I hope it does indeed look like it's going to hurt, because the first episode gave a lot of those feelings, and then it kind of faded where I was like, I'm not as worried now.
It's one of those where it doesn't feel like it's like doing anything with it. But then every time I start up an episode, I see the opening and I see the shot of her walking in a hospital as a child.
Mhm.
And
You know.
I know it's there.
It's around
I
the
know
corner.
It's a surprise Muscatool that'll help us later.
Will it?
to help us cry.
Will it?
Yeah, it'll help tier production.
Okay. Guys, we have to talk about the beaver in the hamster. What is it? I don't even the beaver in the room. So before we talk about Marginal Service, let's talk about the fact that this is one of the lowest ranking shows of the season. Crazy.
Fucking why?
Crazy. Mason, talk about Marginal
I absolutely understand.
No, I do know
Well,
why,
yeah,
especially
yeah,
after
yeah.
episode 3, but let's talk about the Marginal Service.
Okay, so Marginal Service follows our main boy, Ryan Night Raider, a immigrant to Japan from East Dakota, USA.
East Dakota.
I really should have made that the screenshot. This one's also
No.
good though.
Quit your
Bitching is also very good.
It's very good.
But I did like the first frame of episode 2 or 3 when it was like from East
Yeah,
Dakota.
it's 3.
Yes, it was 3. So Brian is a former police detective who doesn't play by the rules, but he gets really good results. And then his partner fucking dies while on a case, and Brian gets fired. Turn in your badge and gun, dipshit. And then he gets scouted by the Marginal Service, which is a UN-affiliated cryptid hunting group. God damn it, it's great. It's Power Rangers, but we're hunting Bigfoot. That's what we're doing, and we will kill them if we have to. Also, Bigfoot's making drugs.
What a crazy!
It's not actually Bigfoot, but yeah. So we have our team, which is Lyra Candyheart, who's the mechanic and oracle of the group. Also, when they are introducing these characters for the first time, or the second time, really, when they're in battle formation, we get the Super Monkey Ball narrator to it, or announcer to announce them. I lost my mind. We have Zeno Stokes, who is the partner character to Brian, who is just an asshole. That's his whole character. He's just a prick.
He's just a middle-aged old prick.
Fun fact, he's played by the man who plays Griffith, Kira from JoJo, Minato from Naruto, and also fucking Sephiroth. Cool. And also Joey Wheeler.
Use Nambini?
That's cool. We have Theodore Thompson, who is the leader of the group. He's the old man. We got Cyrus Kuga, who is, I think, the medical officer. We got Robin Timber, who's a former British spy, who gets into it with Bolts Dexter, who is Himbo. And then we have Peck Desmond, who's a beaver, who's really into Lyra. That's about it.
He's really into titties.
He's really into titties. That's what it is.
Man, I'm so happy he gets shot.
So they are hunting these things called Borderlanders, which are essentially cryptids. They can glamour themselves to look like humans, but they are not humans. They are much stronger, much more resilient, and they're fucking cryptids. They just think of a cryptid. That's what they are. And some of the cryptids are making magic mushrooms that are fucking crazy strong, and they got to get to the bottom of this. Episode 3, we find out that they are coming from the world's #1 pop star. What's his name? Rubber Suit. So we have a heist episode to try and get information on Rubber Suit. It's a thing. We also meet Mommy Phoenix. And this show's fucking wild, but it's really fun. It also just knows that it's batshit insane. Such as there's a bit towards the end of episode 2 where Brian picks up one of the bazookas for the first time, and he shoots at the leader of the group they're fighting, and it shoots out both ends. He's like, "What the fuck? Why would you do that?" And the entire team goes, "Yeah, no, newbies kept fucking it up, so we just made it so it shoots out at both ends." It's great.
I also just appreciate that it seems like this team's go-to exit plan is destroy the location they are at. Because, hear me out, I don't know if they needed to detonate that explosion to escape. To escape. I feel like he just did that. Yeah. Man. I should not enjoy Robin and Bolts' dynamic as much as I do.
It's so funny though.
The scene where Bolts jumps through the fan is ridiculous. He should not be able to fit through that fan. They are wild. Protein. All of them secretly being Rubber Suit fans is good. It's great. this show is silly. Why does their head of the organization, why does Theodore kind of give off evil vibes? Why does he feel like he's...
man.
Why does it feel like... Because they delivered the line where they're like, oh, so if you collect, like, a bunch of cryptid... What's the term for the artifacts?
Oh, they're like U-arts or something like that, but it's with 2 O's.
Yeah. They're like, if you collect enough of them, you can rule the world. And I'm like...
Yeah.
Why do you make me uncomfortable about the leader of your organization now?
So that is something that I really enjoyed, by the way, about episode 3 was we're just trying to heist the goddamn crystal skull.
Yep.
Also, they figure out that the crystal skull's in a punch bowl, and Michael and I went back and looked at it, and it's in that punch bowl, or sorry, John and I, and it's in that punch bowl the entire time. Like, you can see it in there.
Just barely.
The fact that the first cut of Brian in the vaults cuts right before the song gives the answer to the password is so funny. Like, you're just listening and you just see the subtitle, the password is, and it cuts. It's like, Brian, come on, man. Be so good. This show is more parody than it feels like it should be. I wish I had a GIF to send to the group so that if they didn't know what I was referencing, they would know what I'm referencing, but there is no GIF of the best characters in any Pokemon game ever, the Go-Rock Squad from Pokemon Rangers. But that is what the real rubber suit feels like when we get the shot of him on his crazy, like, fucking panels, and all you see is him with his guitar riff. And he's just that is the entirety of the Go-Rock Squad. They are an evil organization that fucks around with the Pokemon Rangers by playing music, and all of their OST in that game slaps. But they are equally as ridiculous and silly as Rubber Suit is.
Mm-hmm.
And that was all I could think about. I think maybe the thing that this show definitely has going against it is, like, if you don't like Xeno, boy, does he bring this show down. Like, it really does. There's like a moment where like you almost feel like there's something deeper to him, and then it really does feel like, no, he is just an asshole. That's his thing. I like Brian. I enjoyed the fact that he reasonably gets upset at... it's funny that he doesn't get upset for the reason he should, but, like, his partner tells him, go on, I'm fine. Catch the culprit. And then bleeds out on his own, and it's like, yeah, it was your fault for leaving your partner. It's like, the dude told him to go. It was an unfortunate tragedy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I mean, Marginal Service is just like, it's the other, like, funny, stupid show, is how I put it, right? Like, it's in that, like, Mashle tier of, like, its comedy is in its, like, stupidity sometimes.
Yes.
And, like, it's ridiculousness. But I think Mashle does it a bit better.
Because I think Mashle's intending to do it, where I think Marginal Service is like, we're just gonna go, like, fuck around. We're writing a Sentai show about hunting cryptids. Like, in its own self. Like, it knows what it's doing, but it's not a parody or gag show, which sets it apart from Mashle.
Which I think makes it weaker, though.
Yes, I agree.
Because it's not a parody. It just feels like it's just Sentai, but, like, trying to be for, you know, like, our generation, like, adults or, like, young adults. I just don't think the product works as well.
The one thing that should not get me as much as it does, and the other thing that I think is actually really cool about the show, the Borderlanders joke should not be as funny to me every time that Brian fucks it up, where he's like, so these cryptids, and I'm like, Borderlanders, and I know it might be rooted in, like, an SJW, like, anti, like how you, like, refer to people by the proper word, but just how silly it is that it's cryptids really sets off something in my brain where I find it really funny. How they're like, no. The official term is Borderlanders. You're a cop. Get it. Please right. Use it. The other thing, though, is the designs for, like, the really important Borderlanders, where they have, like, the glowy, like, lines through their skins, are really
just
cool.
personas.
They're so cool. Ignoring that fact, which... no comment. Really cool. Like, that Kappa design, obviously a Kappa, really cool.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the one Digimon, Michael.
True. Is my boy Gawapamon or whatever it is.
Yeah, I don't think this show is anything special or crazy, but it's a good time. I don't hate it. I think it's getting scored in a really weird way because I don't think it deserves. Like, I don't think this show deserves to be at a 5.
I absolutely understand the show being there. 'Cause as much as the show's fun, actually none of our characters have a personality
That's true.
outside of their character trait.
Yeah.
And the story is just a whole bunch of hoopla garbage, but it's like fun sometimes.
Yeah.
So like, I don't hate it, but God, is a lot of these bits starting to get really
Yeah,
boring at this point because it's just been 3 episodes of the same thing.
but East Dakota, that flag has at minimum 45 stars on it, at maximum 49.
Yeah, like the East Dakota bit is great. I think that's really funny. But Zeno telling Brian that he should go kill himself for the 15th time kind of gets a little stale.
Yeah. I don't.
And Walt saying the word protein for actually the 30th time an episode starts to get stale by episode 3.
I will say though, Zeno did have a good moment of look, dude, I'm not holding back just because it's your buyer. Go buy or your dealer. Go buy somewhere else. In the first episode, that was based.
Yeah, I think the first episode was really good. I felt like the third episode very much you could feel the stale coming onto it.
Yeah.
And we'll see. Maybe it'll pull itself out of being too tropish.
We introduced an actual like villain that's going to exist for more than
Yeah.
one episode.
Yeah.
Maybe something's going to come out of it.
Yeah.
But I currently don't dislike the show enough to be like, Gra, we must murder it, because there are things I think that are actually like
Growl,
bad.
we must murder it. Yeah. Hey, Michael. Let's talk about your next show.
Yo, my Clueless first friend, one of the cutest fucking things I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
This shit's adorable. Yeah, no, this show has negative plot.
Great.
Why do I not care? Because it is just two fifth graders being fucking adorable together. He is the most oblivious little guy that I've ever seen.
So dumb.
He's
just
just
a
a
goober.
little guy.
He's just a
He
goober.
just wants to use his barrier. He wants the curse because curses are cool.
They are.
Boy, does he not feel like a 5th grade. He feels like he's in like 1st grade. But like
Yeah.
it's fine because he's a little goober. And she's adorable and doesn't know how to deal with boy compliment her every 0.3 seconds.
I mean,
These
to be
two
fair,
are adorable.
yeah, that's a really high. He gets in a lot of compliments per screen time. It's kind of insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
His compliment per second ratio is kind of crazy.
This kid's got Riz. It's crazy.
Yeah, he is the Rizzler.
This boy
And
has
he
more
does it by
compliments.
accident.
This guy has more compliments per second than Korean StarCraft players have APM.
True. I like the way he does stuff. I'm trying to think, there was another character I think who did it in a different show where the way they react to people bullying is to just ignore it and not care and go, and anyway, shut the fuck anyway, just or accidentally turn all of it into a compliment because he's a fucking idiot.
It's
It's like, wow, see, you're so cute. It should be illegal.
It's
Got him, boy.
It's the bit of going of someone, making a joke that is at another person's expense and going, well, I don't get it. What's funny about? I don't get it. Can you explain what's funny about the joke? I don't. That's him, except he's not doing it to fuck them over. He just generally likes the person, and it's like, yeah, she's dope. What's the problem? She's cool. She's cute. She's got a cat now.
That cat's
The
adorable.
cat seems perfect. Just the cat like the owner. Oh, so cute. Well, no, that's not. So you're saying the cat's not cute? Well, no, but
Also, the one girl fucking.
The one
like,
girl
cat,
Well,
losing her
we-
mind.
You have a cat.
we
Holy shit,
know
holy
she's
shit.
going to become part of the friend group
One of the
because
friends.
because the
Yeah.
opening. It did feel like at first that she existed. That she exists as like I am jealous that he's showing so much attention to you because we all hate your guts. And he could be a neat person. This show is fine. It's fine. It's cute. It does cute things. I'm more interested in some other stuff. That's really all it is.
Absolutely understandable. I think with this shit, the thing that's like putting it higher for me is the fact that we're already at summer break this fast.
Yeah.
Makes me think we might get them not in 5th grade by the end of this.
I see, that's the thing. I would really appreciate these characters in a later time setting as well, because I enjoy these two. Not sure how I feel about friend who likes tank tops and the supernatural. Odd two
No, he's a 5th grader.
What an
His
odd
hyperfixation in tank tops.
what an odd character trait to roll on your D&D character is into the supernatural
Tank
and
top.
likes tank tops.
Eating the tank top demon.
I don't know how to write tank top. Can't you
He's
just
just
use
Marisha
katakana? Yeah.
Yeah.
He's just Marisha Ray.
Yep. Yeah, no, Mason. I was actually gonna say that
I hate
this
that
is the
comparison.
timeline where someone stops the plot of another by just walking in and going, "Yo, what's up? How you doing? You're cool," and everyone's like, "No, you can't. You don't get it." Except these kids are far less justified in their bullying.
Yeah.
No, she is wonderful. I adore her. Just so good. I like it. It has the weirdest OP in that it does not fit this show whatsoever.
No.
Visually, things are happening in it that are obviously this kid's imagination, but oh boy, if you showed me the show's OP, I would not expect this to come out of it.
Mm-hmm.
But, it's either episode 1 or 2 where they go over to one of their houses and the sister's there.
It's
And
two.
it's like, yeah, no, I shipped these two.
Mhm.
It is
The-
adorable.
The sifter's hilarious.
He walked.
I don't remember which sister it is. But
It's
it
his
is one of
sister.
It's
them.
Tyler.
It's his sister.
She's
It's-
I
it's
think
Tyler.
she's an only child and is a single father household is the
Yep.
implication.
Yep.
Which, by the way, good dad. He's trying.
He's trying his best. I appreciate that he's willing to just stand there for like 2 hours while she picks out a swimsuit.
Also, like, good job, show. It's a show about kids, and I don't feel awkward ever. Good job.
Crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
you've
get
done
a
it.
fucking beat. We get a pool episode where everyone's in swimsuits, and it just
They're just
They're
kids.
just kids.
they're
It's
kids
fine.
in swimsuits.
Nothing weird about it. Good show.
I applaud the
Where
show
did
for
his
doing
nipples go?
it.
Just the classic. Where'd they go?
No,
Hey, but
no
you know what?
presenting nipples.
You know what though? Thank you. It means we won't get tossed on YouTube. I could use this screenshot and get away from it. The last thing I'll say for me, the scene at the pool where she is like, "What do you think of the swimsuit?" and his brain just fries is so good. It's the first moment where he is stopped because he does not know what to say, and it's very good. I like it. It's a good way to do to turn it onto him being like, oh, she is cute in a way I probably didn't think about before. And then to follow it up with the compliment line of, "You also think it's illegal for her to be this cute," is very good. And the fact that she
Follow-
tunes into it.
Followed by the, "Hey, I'm sorry I missed this earlier, but your swimsuit's really cute." Like the whisper thing.
Yeah, it's great.
I just melted at that. I was just like,
I
God damn it, why is
They're,
this show so
they're
goddamn
just so
cute?
adorable.
I
I
en-
can't get enough of these two just existing.
I enjoyed the turnaround too. That is, oh, you don't think her swimsuit's cute, so you like school-issued swimsuits. Weirdo. You're weird for liking school-issued swimsuits. That's not what I mean. Oh, so you like people no matter what they wear to the pool. Not what I mean. And his buddy just being like, "Bro, you lost. We just gotta go.
Just take the
gotta
L."
go."
Yeah, you gotta take the L here. He is the W boss man.
This man is an idiot savant and is winning in the 3-dimensional game of chess with you.
He's a
Man
professional
only
idiot.
picks dubs.
I forgot I used the screenshot. Hi. Let's talk about Dead Mount Death Play. Dead Mount Death
Oh.
Play is about the Corpse God, a dope CG skeleton who gets attacked by Link, a paladin.
Link.
The only sounds that man makes for the first 5 minutes of that show are Link grunts.
Yeah, they are.
And then at the final confrontation of their battle, the Corpse God finishes casting a spell that causes TV static, rainbow TV static, and thus we spend the rest of episode 1 following a reincarnated boy. What's his name? Polka. That's right. I knew it was dumb. We follow Polka as he runs into a future diary character.
Yes.
we find out that Polka's previous life was murdered by a crowbar to the throat. And now he's going to run away. We are introduced to this cabal of assassins, who have tech bros as retrievers and hot bartenders as their handlers. And our main character Polka, with a clearly person reincarnated into the Tokyo world, runs away until he accidentally murders his assailant. Because whoops, corpse god power is too stonk. We then spend the next 2 episodes having him adapt to the world. He turns her into a zombie. She's a zombie now. He gets a house because he saves children from dying in a fire by using skeletons. He also fucking nukes himself into that building and out, and it's hilarious. We find out that there might also be cryptids in this show. I don't know what some of these things are. To have the lemmings and the burning bugs or whatever they are that they refer to. I don't know what those are. I've never heard of those before. I probably should have looked them up to see what they're pulling from. I imagine they're like internet ghost stories.
I think so.
But the lemmings is a dude who can turn invisible and also is fully wrapped in bandages and also is like a super powered individual metahuman. That one's interesting. I'm intrigued. I don't know why these 2 cops think they've dealt with him. They very clearly haven't. Or at least maybe they've put him in line with the law? ? This show is goofy. It very much has... I can't even think of the right show to compare its gags to. Off the top of my head. But it has a chibi cutaway style where it does its gags, and it definitely is a type of show where you're either totally fine with it or you really don't like them. I feel like
it feels almost like Eminence, weirdly enough.
I get more like something along the field, like the lines of Zatch Bell cutaway gags or
I get the feeling
bits.
it gives me the feeling of Kimono Jihen to a degree. That's
yeah,
the
I
callback.
can do that.
Where it's like that supernatural aspect to it, it's trying to be kind of funny at times with its cast.
It has the dark, serious nature Eminence that I get the comparison to, where he is a very interesting character who has motives that are dark and rooted in racism. The idea. The show truly asks the question of all time: are all necromancers evil? And the fact that it's my show and I have to face this problem is quite a conundrum. I stand by yes. Even
every
Polkas.
villain is a lemons.
All necromancers are evil. This show, I will say, probably this show's biggest upfront issue that is probably the fact of what is her name?
Misaki.
Is that Misaki exists?
Yes.
And she's very much an aloof, airheaded girl. Who now is a zombie, and is very much kind of a fan service character. Oddly enough, I think the scene with I knew her name with Clarissa and her two gals. I think that scene with them in the suite is fine. Because that feels less this is a fan service sexualization and more of this is a woman empowerment, this is just who she is kind of scene that I didn't have an issue with it, really.
There was a lot of titty.
There was a lot of titty. This is one of those cases where, I didn't think... Maybe it's because in that scene, they aren't necessarily doing, particular zoom-ins or shots that feel particularly to only be fan service. It just feels no, this was the setting we choose for these characters to be in right now.
Yeah.
They're adults.
Okay.
Yeah, is her pulling up her shirt very much this is for fan service. Absolutely.
Yeah, that one for
yeah,
sure.
I agree with that.
I think all the Misaki's...
But the funny thing, in the same way, it doesn't feel weird. I don't... It's... it feels like when I was watching like Fire Force, and when you see Tamaki for the
Tamaki.
first time, and she does a Tamaki, it feels weird. It feels so
Yeah.
wrong.
When you
Maybe
watch
because
Fairy
Fire Force
Tail,
tries to be a good show sometimes. So like
Because
it
Fire
feels out
Force
of place
is a
when
good show.
when really bad shit happens. Because like
Yeah.
Fire Force end of episode like 2 is fucking amazing. We'll get into that. That is not for right now.
yeah,
I
I think
this is just a bunch of bullshit in this show, so it doesn't feel really bad to just have her go and wow, look, that's crazy. My stomach's healing, and also the casual look away from Polka. I don't know what it's just. It works in a way that doesn't feel bad. It's still a little weird, but like not to a point where I'm like, grr, fan
I
service.
this show again raises the question of, is it a good idea to make your original setting much cooler and more engaging than your new one? I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm still interested in some of the hooks it feels like it leaves at the end of episode 1. I do think that these two police detectives and this Lemmings character are interesting, and I personally don't think like the action or the fight scenes look bad, nor do I think that like, and I enjoy all the necromancer stuff Polka does. It's an odd. I think it's an odd mesh of just what it's doing. It's so nothing I've ever seen before that I don't know what I want from it or what's going to be good or bad necessarily until I get a little more of it. I know after I watched the first 2 episodes, my first thought was I need the third to really know how I feel about it, and I still feel like I need a little more to know how I feel about it.
Yeah.
Whereas other shows, I definitely know where I lie. I personally just, I don't know, I like this. I'm someone who unironically didn't think Battle Game was the worst show of that batch. Of our podcast, maybe. But like, I watched a lot of other horrible content alongside Battle Game that I kept watching Battle Game because you know what? It was dumb, turn my brain off shonen. This might be dumb, turn my brain off seinen. I might have found it. It might also exist. I'm happy I could locate a show that is absolutely my bullshit and also still probably bad. The opening fucking slaps though.
Yeah.
And visually
so.
is really cool. Yeah,
I will say,
W's picking shows with so OPs.
and like you said earlier, is like for me, like the best part of the show was by far the end of episode 1. We're like, haha, we gotcha.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, you know what? You did get me. I'm sold. I'll put you at a decent clip just for that episode 1, regardless of how it goes. And that's why it's still like the bottom tier for me, is because I'm not sold on the show yet. But I do respect its its flip flop there, and the fact that it's trying to do things.
I like our
Which,
tech bro.
you know,
I do like
He's
that.
the only person who's moderately sane in
Yes.
the
Yeah.
entire show.
Yeah.
But
because
he
he-
also still gets to deliver a line that shows that no, he's also kind of not, because you get the interaction where he's looking at Polka and he's like, "You're not a good person. You view lives like toys." And then he gets to deliver the difference isn't how we view lives, it's how we view toys.
Mhm.
And he's like, I am a person who works as a retriever for an assassin organization. I guess I really am the bad guy. That's fucked up. You're a necromancer.
We're
Can we
all bad.
also,
And
can
that's
we
good.
also talk about the throwaway bit that they had of, yeah, so I know I just kind of yoinked this body, so I shoved the soul into a goddamn drone.
Are we sure it's
Yeah.
done? The drone's still there, it just isn't flying around as
No,
much.
I know. That's good. That's also a surprise mouse control that'll come and help us later, but that's such a weird thing because I want to know more about Polka and why the fuck someone wanted him killed.
Yeah, there's a lot of mystery still floating in the show. Even Clarissa said, like, because Clarissa's 2 helpers are like, why'd you tell him that, he wasn't an easy kill? Like, the kid Polka was an easy kill. Like, it's just weird necromancer that took the body after. And Clarissa's response is, no, there was something about the kid. Where it's like, what the fuck do you mean by that?
Mm.
Why was his name Polka? I gotta know. Him walking around with his neck cut open is hilarious in the first episode.
It's like,
And he talks to 2 cops for a solid 3 minutes before they realize.
Hey kid, you okay? Gotta go, sorry, bye.
Oh, hey, let's go down the scary dark alley again.
Nothing could go wrong. I do. Okay, this was the other thing. Episode 2. It's Misaki, right? Was that the name we said?
Yeah.
The life flash before her eyes moment is really good.
It's really good.
It's a really cool way to do. This is the thing we got 2 of technically, is because Heavenly Delusions does this in its episode 3, where you get your life flashes before your eyes as you die.
Yeah.
And then you go, oh, I really like that as a way to give me character background, like, without having to, like, go through it flashback, per se. You do it in a way that fits, like, something I'm familiar with as an idea. And this show really does it. Like, it does the static, it does the whole run through everything. I'm glad
makes you feel like, oh wow, Misaki's kind of an actual character as opposed to just fan service bait.
I mean, I think the other thing about her is that she very much gears into the direction of, yeah, she's bad shit insane. Which, you know what? Good for her.
Yeah.
At least she's sticking to her character trope.
I mean, she is like every scene kid's like anime dream girl, so
I can't believe the back of her cape says "Get Hooked."
I know.
Funniest
dude.
fucking thing to me.
Listen, it's Toga, but without the body transformations.
Yeah, it's from Future Diary without the death game, maybe.
I can see the show going into a death game. I can see
That's
turning
where I
our
thought
death
it was.
game.
Michael, do
I
you
don't
get
know
the
where this
rah
show's
rah
going.
feelings from it in any way?
Kind of.
Mason and I were talking about how there's a lot of characters floating around.
Well, it is by the same dude who made
Is it?
Bakano and Durarara. It's written by the same guy.
Yeah, I could see where because it's a large amount of characters doing things, but
also
this seems
has-
significantly more comedy focused than Durarara was.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about it. Yamada-Kun.
So, Yamada-Kun, my love story, takes us on an adventure where our main girl, Akane, she's a student who's just had this tragedy where her boyfriend that she met through this and introduced her to gaming says, I've fallen in love with someone else who's also from the game they play. And so she's like down on her luck, but she's like, you know what? This game's still kind of fun. They're having a fan meetup. Screw it. I'll go meet you to this fan meetup, whatever. But she has like this pouty online phase where she like encounters this high level guy, Yamada, who's trying to farm for a rare drop, where she's just like, I'm just here to blow off some steam. So whatever. Since you're not listening, just find another spot. And so she goes to this fan meetup, and then she runs into her ex. But while running to try to stop him, she bumps into this random guy who turns out to be Yamada. And it turns out he's hot and also a pro gamer and like 17, and she's a college student. So it's a little bit weird, but that's okay. And basically tries to like bribe him to be her boyfriend with the rare drop like mystery gift, basically. And then after going through that, she has like a terrible interaction with her boyfriend and gets really sad and is like, we're going out drinking, and he's like, I am 17, and she's like, you can have soda. To which they go out drinking, they bond a bit. By bond a bit, I mean she just kind of rants for like a couple hours, gets really drunk. He drags her back to the apartment. She throws up over herself and wakes up in the morning. Where Yamada's just like playing games with his ranked not Counter-Strike Go team. And so, she goes home, and then she encounters him again at a different time, where he just kind of like helped her go through the rain, gives her an umbrella. She's going through a tough time. He says, keep the umbrella, don't need it. She runs off with the umbrella, gets home, talks to her roommate. Her family sends her a bunch of her old stuff, where she has this realization that, oh, my necklace is missing that my ex-boyfriend got me, which of course Yamada found and broke on accident because it was on the floor. And then her roommate's basically like, listen, you need to learn to either get rid of this junk or figure out where to put it. And she's like, I've heard that before, because Yamada told her you gotta like basically like learn what you want to keep that actually matters, basically, and stop dwelling on stuff that doesn't matter anymore. And so she basically just throws out all the shit that got sent to her in the mail, except for one teddy bear. And then goes out to the barbecue place with her roommate, where they get fucking wasted again, and then she drunkenly walks with her roommate to Yamada's house to drop back off the umbrella, where her friend is like, "Oh my god, you're so hot! Please marry me. Are you single?" Which is wonderful. And then they have this like actual serious moment, and then they end up going their separate ways, and then we get a separate scene where Yamada shows what happened when she was there, and a little bit of the more personable side of their like introductory relationship here. But that's kind of the gist of what happens in Yamada. It's
Also,
got the
in
really
real
good
life
screen cap.
meetup.
What is that?
In real life
Oh, yeah.
meetup at the end of episode
We-
3.
We end up with in real life meetup where she's like, I want to meet the guildmaster to see if she's actually dating my main boy or not. And so she sees him walking around with this little child, like this little like I guess neat you could call her.
Gothic Lolly. That's how they refer to her.
Gothita Lolly, yeah.
Gothic Lolita.
Gothic Lolita, thank you. And she's like, that must be the other guildmaster. And so when she goes, so when she goes to the guild meetup, she's like, you must be the other guildmaster, after bumping into other hot guy, who turns out to be the actual probably other guildmaster.
What? No.
Thank
there's
goodness
no
he's just a gamer.
way.
And then they have
I
a fan
love
meetup,
him.
and it's cute. But yeah, that's kind of the gist of the 3 episodes. I think it's really cute. So far, it's my lowest of my 3 rom-coms, but I think it's like very like interchangeable with a lot of those middle shows. and I
That's
think
because your other
it's-
2 rom-coms
yeah,
are
let's
fucking
enjoy.
Insomniacs and Skip and Loafer.
I'm sorry. I played it safe, and it ended up being built different this season, Michael. My bad.
No, I just wonder. You're like, yeah, no, it's under my other 2 because the other 2 were fucking amazing.
Because the other 2 were just a little bit better, because I just I know how to pick them in order. I actually did like pick them in like, you could argue Insomniacs and Skip and Flip, but like I just think it's funny
No,
that's like
I think
boom,
you're
boom,
right.
boom.
I disagree, but
But yeah, I mean, Mason loves Yamada-Kun and Insomniacs. So
yeah.
if you want to talk about Yamada-Kun a bit, Mason, and why you have it so high,
So for one,
is it because you're a gamer?
So for one, this is how Final Fantasy 14 feels. For two,
How'd I know?
for two, why is this show so goddamn pretty, and why is it animated really fucking well?
Madhouse.
Though?
Madhouse. Yeah. Also, the opening and ED are really good.
I think this the ED is the best track of the season.
But also, I just enjoy like all of our characters so far. Like Yamada's fun. Akane is. I enjoy her character a lot. I'm excited for who is our boy who is probably going to be other guildmaster. Thank God he's just a gamer.
Have they given his name yet or no?
They have not. That's
Okay.
that's what we end on episode 3. Is like, this is probably Rahime.
Other hot boy.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if the person calling him Akinechi, the only person in the entire fucking show who's done that, could possibly be him.
Yeah.
I wonder. Maybe it's possible. Who knows?
Or he also mentions starting this guild with his friend, and there's exactly 2 guilds.
He
has a
He has
reaction
the
to her
audible
saying
reaction.
To her going, oh, and then I got yelled at for putting shit into the guild chest. I think that bit was neat, but boy, was it immediately obvious, and they're playing it out a little long.
Yeah.
I think it's for the sake of the joke that we're gonna get.
It's for the bit where she doesn't realize, and then goes and interacts with the other person. Goes, oh, it's you. You have to be that person, obviously.
I'm more interested in who the girl is now.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we have not met another member of this guild.
There's another.
I feel like it's
there's
his
a-
family member or something.
I was gonna say there's another door in his apartment that could be a sibling's room, but I also don't know.
Like a cousin, maybe.
What I'm really happy about, just because I think it would have been, I don't think it would have been handled well. And that's just my opinion. I'm happy that it wasn't. Oh, she is the guildmaster, but she's also a dude who cross dresses. Just because I don't think in this particular case it would have been handled well. And that's more. I don't know. There are small things about this show that irk me that I'm just not as big of a fan of it as I want to be. I think it looks really pretty, and I do generally enjoy a lot of what's going on, which is why it's still very high for me. I'm not the biggest fan of Akane. I'm really not.
That's fair.
I just
get that.
Yeah, there's something there that I just don't like. I enjoy the growth she gets from her friend helping her throw stuff away. I think it's a really
Friend's
nice
goated.
moment, and I think their
Friend's
return to his
goated.
apartment is a really good scene for her. I think for me it's just the fact of she's so there is no stability in her life at all, which I get. And she is romantically such a mess that for me I'm like, you need to tone down just a tiny bit, girl. Just a little. There was another point I wanted to make that I'm trying to think on what it was. I think I would like it if we got more into the game aspect of the show. It feels like it's supposed to be really important, and I feel like it's been very minor. I don't really have an issue with the fact that he's a high schooler, because I don't think the point of this show is for them to actually wind up together. And I think that'll be its saving grace for me, is if that is the case. I think if they do get together, I'm not gonna like this show. Because I think these two characters very much scream, we are here to show each other, like to teach each other how to adapt, to become
Interact.
better in our own relationships. Right? Like,
It
he
also
is...
looks like they have other characters that like can fulfill that role of the relationship partner besides one another.
Yeah.
You know?
Mm.
Not super much right now, but like it seems like new boy that's introduced could be a different love interest, you know, that he looked almost older.
I just don't think that at this point in the show there's any sign that Yamada has any interest in pursuing a relationship with her, and I think if anything it makes more sense for him to get the, okay, you show me what it's like to learn about a relationship, because I don't get it whatsoever. I like him a lot. I like his character a lot. I enjoy most of the convo bit on his TeamSpeak app with his bros. There are some parts of it, and I think that's what I think there's a lot of this show that feeds into like the negativity, toxic side of the gaming community, and like showcases it, and I get it. It's there. It's very real, especially in MMO. But part of me is just kind of like, oh, you've written a character who knows nothing about the game they're playing, but has made decent progress in it, and is a girl who only did it out of the love for her previous... I feel like they're not doing her justice at the point we're at in the story. Like, I feel like she should be more of a character who's like her own person than they've written her to be at the start of this show. I think that's my big problem.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Overall, I think I like the general idea of this show. I just don't like a lot of the smaller interactions that have been happening around it. But I'm definitely obviously willing to give this more time. Michael, I don't know how you feel about this show.
This show is certainly... I don't remember exactly how I had it rated, but it's in like the lower section of like the rom-coms for me. Like, it's fine. I do like these two characters, but like, I don't know. It's just fine. I don't particularly feel any way up or down about this show. I think it has really good bits. Like, her not realizing he's a minor after she sits there and watches him order sodas for 3 hours. The stinger at the end of episode 1 with her waking up and it looks like she's naked because she was wearing a shirt that
a tank top
didn't cover shoulders and whatever.
Yeah,
it was just some good bits. Also,
I really enjoyed the scene
post credits in episode 3.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this, but I also really enjoyed the scene where she catches him at the train station and the girl from his school is trying to confess to him. That's a really good scene. Because in that scene she gets to be the older, more experienced character who goes, no, that's you don't get what's going on there. You should have heard her out. Love's important. And I think when she gets to do that, I think when it feels like she has her head on, I really enjoy her character, and I really enjoyed the show's interactions with her. And I really did, and I found the end of episode 3 really enjoyable. The start to the meet and greet. I also really like the scene where she comes back from the double date, and it's the sits down, breathes, Oh no, I was more excited about this than dating. Wow, what's happening?
Mm.
Gamer brain. Hey guys, we have votes in.
Hey guys, do you know she's a gamer just like me, for real?
She just like me for real, though.
Okay, guys, we're gonna do the classic. I'm gonna run down every show that has no slays on it. Hell's Paradise, Heavenly Delusions, Mashle, Skip and Loafer, Insomniacs, Clueless First Friend, Dead Mount Deathplay, Yamada-Kun. I'm gonna run through our shows that have one slay. My Home Hero, Marginal Service. Or show that has 2 slays, Blue Orchestra. Or show that has 3 slays, Dangers in My Heart.
Yeah.
07s.
07s.
I understand.
I figured this was going to happen. I took a gamble on that show because I had no idea what to pick, and I wish I had picked Magical Destroyers instead because that show's
Fair.
based.
But
There's
you know,
a couple of shows that are really base that we missed on, but like there's so many other ones that were just like are also good.
This is a
For-
really good season.
for what it's worth, like we said, there are parts of Dangers in My Heart that I really liked and wished it did more of, because I think it had very interesting ideas and premises. Yeah. Hey, we didn't mention this, but Blue Orchestra likes to say fuck a lot for no real good reason.
Yeah.
And it's very funny.
It really
It's
is.
very funny.
I have to. Part of me wants to believe that maybe where it's being subbed is taking some liberties, especially considering that
I'm knackered.
John, that message
I'm
killed me.
knackered.
I love that. There is no way on God that she said I'm knackered.
Okay. So we watch our sites on very serious, very real,
Totally
For
legal.
what it's worth,
totally legal sites. And for what it's
Blue
worth,
Orchestra does
usually
not have a legal streaming place to watch it.
and
Yes.
usually captions are pretty much, you know, they're pretty good. But I'm like, there ain't no way in fucking I can guarantee is what I said, that she did not say the word knackered.
Unless
in
she
Japanese.
literally is the reincarnation of Oscar Langley. I can't imagine.
Asuka Kiryu Langley from Neon Genesis Evangelion.
Not to be
Evangelion did.
confused with the Japanese name of the Yu-Gi-Oh! GX character, Asuka. Did you know that 2 of the characters in Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, the 2 main female characters of the show, are named Asuka and Rei? I wonder why. And their color schemes are blue and red? Wow. Hey guys.
Oh, they know what
They know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. And they introduce
Guys, I
a
made
hot guy character to be best friends with, or the main protag. Crazy. Hey guys, we're an anime podcast. And we appreciate you tuning in for the very long first episode. This is actually a shorter end of a first episode. This is only two
Really
and a half
is.
hours. We did good, guys. Join us next week where we have 11 shows and it hopefully doesn't go as long. It will probably go about as long.
It'll probably go like 2 hours. We'll
Is-
slowly cut it down.
Is the week after next where we're gonna have tricky times?
So it's gonna be. Let me look at the
The
calendar.
week after next is gonna be tough for me because I'm going to Anime Central the 19th through the 22nd.
It's 2 weeks. Well, it's gonna be. I leave on the 27th, so it's 4 weeks from now.
Okay.
Essentially,
And then
is
Michael,
when it's
when
gonna
do
be
you
rough.
go on
That's
vacation?
3 weeks. Mason, that's 3
The
weeks.
12th, I believe,
No.
is
We're-
the day
we're at
we
May 4th.
leave.
Or,
The
sorry.
27th is 3 weeks. Yeah.
Yes, but
Fucking
the
scary.
27th is a Saturday, and we do this usually on Wednesdays and Thursdays. So 4 weeks is what I'm saying.
Michael, when do
Oh,
you
yeah,
go
the
on
first.
vacation?
The 12th, I believe. It's the 12th until the 28th.
Okay, so
Like
you were like
May?
you got like a 2-week period.
Holy shit!
It's gonna
You're
be
gone for the rest of
tricky.
the month. Where are you going?
Another country.
What? That's wild. Have fun.
Hey, and you know what? If anyone else wants, if there's any interested, potential big corporations watching, we have a co-host going to another country, and you know who would be a great sponsor for that?
NordVPN.
Look at you, Nord. But hey guys, have a good night. We'll talk to you all next week. We'll have our 11 shows. No More Dangers in My Heart. I'm very excited to get to watch some of these shows. There are some of these shows that I almost, if it wasn't for the fact that it's 1:30 in the morning, I would almost immediately want to drop right into.
Yep.
But probably gonna go eat and go to bed.
Watch Richard Mercury season 2. Okay, thank you.